I think we're live.
Oh my God.
Do you think we're live? I think we're live. Oh my God, late. Listen, folks. Well, you must be new here. You have no idea how it can be.
Yeah, this is late.
Right on time. Right on time. Hi, we're going to, before we show the very dark screen, welcome everyone to Hot D, episode 9, penultimate episode of Hot D.
Dun, 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 dun.
We got the Green Council. That's right. Yeah. I got my Aston shirt on, repping Eric July and my Padres. Who are going to the National League Championship Series. I'm in 25 years. Yeah. Beat them Dodgers was great. Okay, enough of that. Enough of the sports ball. I was up late last night. I was freaking happy. It was a good day. All right. So, yeah, we just saw an episode of House of the Dragon, and I'm going to tell you right now, was not my favorite. Not my favorite. I thought it was good. Didn't take me out of the series. I'm not going to start calling it trash and woke, but we're going to get into, and I was fine with it until a certain point. And then what the fuck was that? It was all they went full Game of Thrones season 8 spectacle, 7, 6, 7, 8 spectacle, which was just completely unnecessary. I know it's going to be all the talk on Twitters and Rhaenys and the dragon, the
Slay Queen. They did it with Daenerys, and then they regretted that.
Yeah, it's like I know, like it looked nice. It looked really cool. Seeing the dragon was cool. Seeing her the timing. I don't know where she got her armor. Fine,
right. What was that?
Killed half of King's Landing.
Chronological breakdown, Gary.
Sorry, not gonna bury the lead. I've been like pinching it in. I'm like,
I know.
What the fuck was that? God, I know everybody's like, woo, right now. No, it was kind of dumb. It was kind of
carnage.
Yeah, there's a big question of like, why was this the only way to get the dragon out? But no, it's like there would have been a few guards if she was willing to trash some stuff to get the dragon free. Why did she choose the most way that has the highest body counts possible?
Right, and then like not finish the deed, you know. Now she's the biggest moron in the series. So we're going to get to, there's MauLer spoke about this, and I'll let him get into it. There's some contrived stuff that happened. Yeah, step back. Not the worst step. Well, I mean, yeah, it's kind of the worst episode of the series.
Kind of. Maybe, I don't know. Don't want to jump the gun or anything. I would just go as far as saying, I want to restate, episode 8 was glorious. Right? So following that up is going to be tough anyway, but we had to do a lot of work this episode to get everything in place, and it feels to me they gave up a little bit logistically. They were like, this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. It's like, how did that happen? Isn't this? And then they're like, and that's kind of throughout the episode. And then it ends on quite a baffling scene for me that I get. Oh God, it's so annoying because I was on Twitter waiting like before we go live, and I'm just seeing everyone going absolutely wild, saying it's an incredible scene, greatest scene across the Game of Thrones franchise. And it's just like, oh no, what a shame. So yeah, when people say this one wasn't my favorite, I agree with the sentiment, but really the subtext of that statement is I didn't have, this might be the worst one. You know?
Yeah. There's parts of the episode I liked a lot up until that moment. Like, and we'll get into it, but yeah, sorry, it's just how I roll. I had a problem with it. So welcome, MauLer. Hello, Shad.
Hey. Now it looks like my internet is dying, so I'm just going to quickly be right back and try and fix that. I'll be back in just a second.
You're Australian. You got
the audio is coming through great.
Yeah.
So if you can't fix
at least the audio is there. Yeah. Maybe this might save people from the cancer on my screen.
Sorry, they can just look at this cancer. It's fine.
But all right, well, this will do for a little bit, and I'll quickly be right back after we talk a little bit and try to fix the internet. So yeah, look, I did enjoy the episode. I found it very intense, and that part was enjoyable. Wondering what will happen next. There's some dumb things here, make you raise an eyebrow or two here and there. And look. Not my favorite episode. Our last episode was easily my favorite. Still thoroughly enjoyed it, and so. If we can get through the cancer on my screen briefly, I would compare this one to a war sword, where this sword, it's brutal, it's made to do a job, not really the most elegant of things, but it gets the job done in a fairly brutal fashion, even if it has some distinct imperfections here and there. And so I would compare it to this war sword, that episode.
That's a very good assessment, I think.
Very well, yeah.
Very good assessment. As usual. Hello, Jayne Theory.
Hello. Happy to be here. This episode, it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best, but it was entertaining. I think it achieved what it needed in terms of setting the foundation for what's to come. And I am excited and looking forward to how this is going to play out going forward. But there were certainly a couple of changes that were made that I just don't understand. I don't know why they took it in that direction. We'll get into it, but there were things I enjoyed too. So
yep.
Overall, not terrible.
No, I still think this show is a vast improvement on the book, although they took one thing away from the book that was really good, or just rushed through it. Which we'll talk about.
There's a lot that feels rushed. They could have broken this into 2 different episodes.
It explains why George put up the blog yesterday. He's he praised the series, but he's all, I wanted 13 episode seasons.
Because I agree, it does feel like this episode's resulting of rushing, like everything's crushed down.
Maybe next season they'll get 13. I mean, like, why the F not, HBO? Like, how much do you have going for you right now? Like this, like, seriously.
I mean, how many times does George have to tell them exactly what he needs to achieve a certain result? He's telling them what he needs. Just give it to him.
Oh my God. There's so much I want to tell you guys, but I can't. So I'm just going to be really, really, really vague right now. I'm working on a big story. MauLer knows what it is. It's going to be like, I made a lot of Room for Power videos. I'm going to make a couple more. It's going to be one of those.
Yeah. I filmed a follow-up review of just the season 1 and trying to look at the season as a whole. Oh my goodness, what a disaster it is. But hey, my screen's back and I think people can actually see me a bit better.
Let's see the sword now.
So I'll show you the sword in better detail. So the war sword, it's an imperfect weapon, but a brutal one that gets the job done. And because I've got a nicer war sword, but I think the imperfections on this one reflects this episode in a more apt analogy.
I spoke with the wonderful person yesterday who cares about the fandom, and they told me some really interesting things that can provide context for even a little bit for this show, for Rings of Power, for many things. There are good people out there, just so you know, that got your back, fandom. Just want to let you know. More on that later. But let's get here. I'll share that. It's going to be a little dark because my screen is I have the darkest screen on earth, so I apologize in advance.
It's all good.
I didn't hate it. I just hated that decision. I know why they did it. That's why I hate the decision.
Yeah, it seemed just like Game of Thrones moment, brutal destruction because you weren't expecting this kind of thing.
But what about consequences?
Yeah.
Well, that's 3 we've had now. Like Kristen Cole killing Sir Joffrey Longmouth in front of everybody, and like killing the boyfriend of a king consort. Like, would not go like. They never talked about that. That's one of the problems I have.
That's the first big stinker for me was, and funnily enough, I accidentally found out just before seeing this episode that Beesbury was going to die. Not necessarily in this episode, just as a book thing. It was a random way of finding that piece of information because I usually avoid spoilers. And I was just like, oh, and so when that scene was playing, I was like, oh, Beesbury's gonna be like, no, this is treason, and then you'd have maybe Otto say, continue to speak, sir, and we will have your tongue, that sort of thing, and then he's like, he says something, no, outrageous, blah blah blah, and then they're like, seize him, and then he's like, no, and then struggles, and something could happen, but no, instead it's sit down. Oh shit, you're dead. It's like, okay.
Why did they choose to do it that way?
I think they tried to do it like plausible deniability, that they didn't intend to kill him. He just, ended up getting killed.
But that's my problem, is that they're downplaying the Green's ruthlessness.
Yeah, I think it would have been better if they had executed him.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know what you're dealing with in the show. These two sides are absolutely monsters.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me a little bit concerned about what's to come next.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I agree that he's like wiped out as a character who's been here for a long time, because I actually quite enjoyed him saying like, I've known Viserys longer than any of you, and I know that this is
I like that too.
I was like, oh yeah, it's true, he's been around for so long. And then but it's also the fact that it's like, remove your sword and your cloak, you've like dishonored yourself, you are done. And then like next scene we've all forgotten about it. It's like, oh.
See,
okay.
what I was expecting is like, remove your sword and the cloak, and then he's like, no, and then he's going to try and force him in fighting, and then Cole kills the guy.
I thought
and
that
then
might
they're just
happen,
like, that's what I was expecting to happen, and then they just no one really objects because
I think
get it kind of done.
We're supposed to assume that they kind of just let it slide, because the only person that was going to take his cloak and sword was the Lord Commander, and then he resigns. So just kind of like, well. And let that slide. It's like, that's not satisfying at all, but okay. I even would have taken Alicent saying like, what you did to Beesbury was a fucking idiot move, mistake, and I can't keep covering for your nonsense, like your bullshit. You need to start playing better by the game. And you know what? A way to prove that you're going to is to get Aegon back. You could have had something like that. Mm-hmm. Prove to me you're still a loyal, not insane, unhinged monster. Because I'm totally fine with Cole becoming a monster. By the way, I just thought that was lame. Where you're just like, sit down. Oh shit.
Yeah, they should have. In the book, they say there's two different deaths. Like he gets launched out of the window, or he gets his throat slit. Just slit his throat.
Yeah.
But the reason you had to change that for some reason is because Harold Westerling is still alive. He dies. He's supposed to be dead in the book. He died of old age or something. No, but they cast Graham McTavish. So I'm like, no, they're not going to kill Harold Westerling, played by Graham McTavish. So he's obviously going to
come back at some point.
Yeah, he's going to go over to the Blacks or something.
Yeah.
So like
they were like, no one leaves, and then he leaves. There were decisions that were made. It just don't make sense.
You were highlighting one of the many problems that make me think like, it feels weird. This episode wasn't quite, I don't believe it was made by the same people. There's a lot of small writing mistakes that they don't usually make.
Not only that, there are some lines in this that had some very woke kind of perspectives that also make me feel like this was written by maybe that showrunner that got killed.
No, it was written by like, I didn't recognize either writer. Not regulars. Wasn't directed by a regular and that's your penultimate episode, man. Ugh.
They had some new people on the team, so that may be who did it.
And especially after episode 8 too, It's like it's a bit of you trip down the stairs after going down with a red carpet.
It's weird, right? I'm so satisfied with Viserys' arc in that last episode. The show could go off the rails and I would still be okay. I'll be annoyed, but I'm like, you gave us something truly great. I'll always remember that part at least. So I'm not hugely. Hopefully they'll be able to bring it back on track a bit. We'll see.
Matt Damon will be back. That's like this was a Matt Damon Targaryen less episode. So and you kind of felt it. Aemon was in it, and when he was there, he was good, but not.
I like all the Aemon stuff. Yeah.
The biggest problem is they leaned into some very woke territory, and woke is a very broad term for intersectionalism because they made Alicent like good, like
a victim. Like, it's like, what are you doing? Like Jayne. Both of these women end up turning into fucking monsters. Okay. That's what this whole thing is. It's
power corrupts, absolutely. That's the whole thing. You could say, well, they're victims of the patriarchy of the Middle Ages society, that the rules have been specifically set up by George R. Martin. Yes, it's not a fair society. It's not, and they have to work within it. But that's what makes their stories really fucking cool when they're strong. But when they do extra shit that they don't need to, like with Rhaenys, it makes it go off the rails and it takes you out of the show.
So someone said, did they really use the word cuck in a medieval series? And it's like, well, yeah, cuckold. That's where they, like, that's culture for you. People think that's a word that's from the modern times now.
So, like, I wasn't totally against them making Alicent, I guess, fall into this, insane, ruthless person a bit more gradual, because in terms of some of her, I guess, plausible deniability or honestly thinking it was the king's true wishes and everything, to me, that felt actually a bit more in line with the character that they've set up. She's always done her duty and always tried to fulfill the king's wishes, very honestly. And so it would have actually been a bit out of character for me if suddenly the king had died and then she's like, no, my son's on the throne, I'm going to take control of everything, without giving her something with a bit of a lead in there. And so I wasn't wholly against their depiction of Alicent in this episode. In regards to the lines about, women always being subservient to men and stuff, I find it so funny because it's just like you're saying something, and I think I might be able to let it slide because this is from the perspective of a character who probably really honestly believes that. But if the show is trying to say that, oh, sexism's in the world, how bad is this? It's contradicted by the show itself, because Alicent, who this was said to, that, she's always going to be controlled by men and stuff, has two men totally simping after her that she is manipulating, controlling completely.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and that is not like, going in line with the idea that men are always controlling women. It's like, no, the show is depicting her having full control and manipulation over men.
She supersedes Otto.
No.
Dude,
but that's how she was introduced. She was sent to manipulate and to seduce the king. I mean, that's how she came on the scene. That's when she began playing the game.
And there's a scene where she does that to Lara Strong, and it's really creepy, but it's there.
Yeah, that was a choice. And I want to address the elephant in the room. Stop saying you prevent men from destroying the world when season 8 of Game of Thrones happened. Stop.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. I'm watching these characters try to say this, and if the show really wants to convince me that it's like, yeah, women hold back the tide, men are very violent, they're very conquery, and women have to, I'm just like, but one of them blew up King's Landing, and then the other one finished it off. Like, what do you mean? You can't keep saying this. It's really awkward.
Yeah, they're saying one thing and doing the exact opposite. It's crazy.
I don't know if it's supposed to be ironic. I don't know.
I think they have it in their mind that they were justified, but it's not. No, I agree. No, I cannot delve into their insanity.
Well, you know what, Gary?
I mean, and also
let's think about it. The big issue I have with those two events is so many civilians, innocent people died. Can we think of any recent event where a lot of civilians died in this series? Who caused that?
This episode, exactly. I was going to point that out. And I'm just interested if people are just going to let that slide and still like that character when she just slaughtered hundreds, if not maybe 1,000 innocent people.
It might be the most foul act we've seen so far.
Yeah, like it's full-blown slaughter.
Like, yeah, tell that to all the flattened peasants right now.
This is insane. If people aren't anti the black, they will be.
It's so funny because she was the one who said, stop men from being so violent. And then she
exactly. This is what I mean. Is it supposed to be ironic? I don't know what they're doing.
It might be. I mean, she does wield a nuclear bomb.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's the whole, I don't know.
It could be.
It just didn't land. The only thing that landed was a dragon on 100 peasants. Flattened them. The poor pores. They just can't get a break.
And they literally just forced the entire town into that little square.
Should we just do it that way? Should we just bounce around? Because I'm I figured maybe it might be the better format for this one because there's just so much passion for that last scene. Like this.
There
I don't know, I'm happy to go chronological. We'll get to it.
Okay, yeah, we'll do chronological, but I will make sure we get to that scene before you get too tired, MauLer. Okay.
It's all good. Well, I'm just saying because like I'm fine with going the bouncing route. I'm okay with that. We
can go chronological.
There were a lot of things to like in this episode. I actually really liked the opening that they did cinematic storytelling where everything is quiet. It's as if the castle is dead, implying that, the king is dead. And it had impact that it was good visual storytelling just from the opening. And so there's something to that I felt was done pretty well. And I think there are a good number of things to compliment in the episode. I did enjoy it still. There are issues as well, though,
I was absolutely fine with Rhaenys being there, being locked in.
Yeah,
being rushed. I was totally fine. I just thought sorry to jump in. I thought the dragon would go out like the side or something.
Yeah.
I was like, well, funnily enough, that's the thing. If she thought to herself, this is the one chance to wipe out the Greens at the cost of several civilians, that'd have been one thing.
Yep.
But like, nope. Nope.
Well, maybe. Okay, when we get there, maybe that's what her intention was. Maybe it was, and like you can argue. And she like her mom gene kicked in or something like that.
Yeah, she got cold feet at the very end, maybe.
I cannot imagine how when they had a discussion about the use of dragons in the upcoming conflict.
This is the thing. I don't know what could have pulled her back if she was originally going to kill them and then thought, maybe I won't. It's like, do you understand what you've done by not doing that?
Yes.
Sunken cost fallacy. You've just wiped out all those peasants for nothing.
I wouldn't want to see Otto, Aegon, Alicent, Aemond, everyone wiped out just like that. I'd probably want a story a little bit more, but ultimately, like, you set that scene the way you did, so exactly. I think that dragon should have shot.
Yeah, I think there should have been an attempt to try and justify her mentality of wiping out all the peasants, and they could have done it and kept them alive. As soon as the dragon bursts forward, Otto just says, "Get the king to safety," and they run out, and the dragon, with almost out hesitation, just fireballs them, killing off maybe some of the guards right as they push them through the door to safety, and they survive by a hair's breadth.
That was another weird thing, Shad. I was like, why is nobody telling everybody to leave? Like, I think I even said to you, Gary, I was like, they should be getting him out of there. Get Aegon out. What are you doing? There's got to be another way they could go, left or right. Even down to the dragon pit at this point would be safer than staying there.
But one of my biggest complaints with this entire show has been how the High Towers have handled the dragons. Like, they've literally just stood there in the face of them, which is taking incredible courage, or they're insane. I don't know which it is.
Or just ready to die. I don't know. ZM for $20 says, I loved Aemon's charitable explanation of Aegon taking him to the Silk Road at the age, or Silk Street, or the Street of Silk, sorry, at age 13. And Christian's response, the dialogue is still good, and Aemon and Kristen are an odd couple that I want to see more. That you will.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
That was great odd couple. They were fantastic.
And I know what line they're talking about, where he was talking about like how you can get it wet, is what he said, and then Chris's response was like, every woman is to be revered as the image of the mother, or something like that.
Yeah, a reflection of the mother and to be revered.
I did like how Aemon actually looked and seemed like a young kid in that scene as well. Like, he's so the warrior in every other scene, but there you see a little bit of his vulnerability.
Yeah,
good point. Yeah, that was a good point.
I enjoyed everything
in terms of. Oh, sorry. Yeah. In terms of this council scene, right? One of the things I really liked that Alicent wasn't aware of the plotting and planning to put, Aegon on the throne. She's like, look, my husband said this. He wants Aegon to be king. Then Otto's like, all right, we have a plan. Get going. And she's like, what plan? You conspired to do this? It does soften her character in terms of she's not as so brutal, but I think it works in terms of her gradual progression, that she's kind of getting caught in just a current that she's now unable to move back from or get away out of.
I'm of two minds about it. I like it for all the reasons you just said, but simultaneously, if I were Otto's conscience, I'd be like, yes, it'll be time to roll out our plans. And of course, we've got the Lannister, we've got the guy across the table from him, they're on board. And Alicent will likely be on board, ? We should probably inform her about this, right? Because she's got weird relationships with Rhaenyra and stuff. She's a bit of she could be a wild card, but Beesbury, you haven't locked him in at all. Are you expecting to kill him? Like, this is stuff that you usually have to account for. Everybody's on board with this plan, and they even admit to, like, they know that they've been plotting, and they say, like, we wouldn't want to concern you with such dark plotting. And it's just like, why would you even say it like that? Like, why would you? It's I don't know. It seemed clumsy to me on the behalf of these guys. He should have been feeding this to Alicent gradually, Otto, instead of just, I'm going to drop it on her and hope she says yes when she absolutely won't. Considering,
I mean, I'm with you with Beesbury, but Otto is so used to just manipulating Alicent and telling her what to do and everything. In terms of, like, this episode is really the only episode where she finally comes out and tells him, I'm just a pawn to you and you manipulated me. And so I think it might be in line for Otto to just have assumed to be able to control Alicent.
So this is the thing about how I was actually going to be defending Alicent's characterization in this episode. With everything we've seen up to this point, I wouldn't have expected her to be okay with killing Rhaenyra, Daemon, and whatever. But Otto seems to be like, I'm just going to suggest that, and I assume you'll go along with it. It's like, I never would have assumed that Alicent would go along with that. You're going to need to do a lot of convincing
you're right.
on that.
He should have been aware of that. But because he's pushing for that level, but it seems like she's seems to be okay with Otto just taking the reins in terms of we got to, ensure that the guard is on our side, get rid of the people in control. We got to find, Aegon, and we got to have him crowned and all that stuff. And so all those plans are in. But you're right. That's the big sticking point. He someone as smart as Otto, he should understand she would not be okay.
But this is the problem, is that this is the perception everyone now has of Alicent, and it is not who she is. It's how they've set her up, but it's just why. Why are they choosing to do this? And I don't understand it unless they're trying to sort of low-key feed into this whole feminist narrative that's much more subtle than we've seen in other shows. But this is where it really shines, because it's clear to anyone who knows who this character is that this is not how she was at this meeting.
Because
this was her and Otto's plot.
Yeah, she's definitely the I didn't know this was going to happen person in this. And I was saying to Gary when we were watching as well, her indecisions are actually going to be what causes all the problems now in the way that they're running it, because her lack of conviction with a lot of decision making is going to screw it up for the Greens more than likely.
It's interesting. Because I totally get what you're saying. I actually think I agree with you, Jayne. But at the same time, I'm glad there's someone who is raising a moral protest to what's going on. That, I did like Alicent's line where it's, what was it? Something about we can't just let murder or something. I've got it written down, but I've lost my point on the notes where
she said to Otto that it's not a weakness to be against murder.
Yes. I liked that line. I'm glad that there was someone raising moral protest.
Yeah, and he was stunned by that as well. He didn't have a comeback.
So I'm a bit of two minds over that. And I don't know the source material, so I guess I'm not as hung up about those changes either. And I'm a bit more okay with Alicent's more gradual. It's interesting because I am expecting her that she goes full tyrant. But if they are so desperate to, it's not really the woman's fault kind of thing, and they just have her as like an innocent or more innocent than other people person that's just caught along the thing, that would feel a bit weird. Because like I said, it feels like her character progression is to become, all right, I'm committed now. We need.
You made me think. You're absolutely right that's totally within your character to be like, hey, murder not cool, but it's like she didn't do anything about Beesbury's murder.
Right. Yeah. He's the voice of morality there.
But that's why
reasonable. The rest of them are insane.
That's why I think they're trying to play it off as oops, an accident. It wasn't like slice off head. She's like, damn it, Cole.
That's what we call manslaughter then.
I know. It is. It's bad.
And what happened to him? He's been made Lord Commander. Like, I don't know. That's not satisfying at all, I don't think.
Well, she is manipulating Kristen Cole for sure. Like she knows that he is taking his
that comes out big time in this episode.
And then it's and then she's manipulating. Now we know why Laris Strong hangs around so much. He's got a foot fetish. Okay. I mean, everybody's got their thing.
What was that?
He's like Joss Whedon.
Why couldn't you can totally imply it couldn't have just been a regular. Like she couldn't have just gotten naked for him. That couldn't have been it. It had to be feet for some reason.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, in context, that is getting naked. What she did was getting as a queen, taking off her shoes and showing her legs. Come on, that's
but
crazy.
I don't know. It's just that everyone's at first I was getting confused. I was like, is she just resting her feet on the table?
Yeah, I was confused, but when the socks came off, I was like, oh, all right then.
So she's basically whoring herself out for information.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, essentially.
Yeah, well, and
This is
she's
what we
this is the
come
thing
to.
she's doing with Kristen Cole. I guess we're supposed to interpret that she really is letting all these things slide because he's a very useful sword to have.
Yep.
Which, you know, see, and I think that those are aspects that they're kind of doing pretty well. She's slipping further and further into like selling pieces of her soul, you know, and I'm okay with that. Just I think we stumbled a little bit with this episode.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with having a foot fetish. I mean, people like clean feet. That's fine.
And
Clean feet.
You know, the guy has a club foot, and so like it's something that he might want. And so I think, okay, if for any character you could justify it, it does make sense for him.
I guess you don't have to justify a fetish. You just whatever.
You don't have to, right? But I mean, that's true. You don't have to. But club foot, he appreciates
as far as like whacking it in front of the queen over her feet. No,
that part, yeah, that was.
That's what I meant when I said that scene just kept going. Huh?
You're like, I love what you said. You're like, well, that was creepy, and it was. But or you said it was very Game of Thrones. You said that went really Game of Thrones right there. And I'm like, yeah.
But see, that was another instance of them turning her into some sort of victim. When before, I thought they were going with him sort of becoming her pawn. But no, it's like they don't want her to actually exhibit any power. The only thing she did here that I felt was consistent with her character was when she stepped up and basically tried to seize power over Aegon, from her father. That whole rush to get him. But other than that, it's like she's supposed to be so sympathetic, and she's not. Look at what she's doing. This isn't a sympathetic character.
Out of curiosity, you guys maybe will help me out. I appreciate the idea that they both had their own resources and they had a similar goal, but like, weren't they going to do the exact same thing when they grab Aegon?
Well, I think what she wanted to do was try to convince him not to kill Rhaenyra, and Anna wanted to convince him to go ahead and do it as quickly as possible.
Yeah. I mean, she could still talk to Aegon about that, though.
Yeah, it's interesting. Whoever gets to the ear of Aegon first to implant that idea.
What you'll find out is
careful, Gary.
How little that matters.
Okay.
I'll just say that. Like this is a setup for later. We'll say that. That's a setup for later. We'll just leave it there. Okay?
I like the rush though. That was
fun. There was intensity in like, all right, holy crap, where is he? We need to find him.
The first part of the first 2/3 of the episode are really good. Like they're paced really well. I liked that they're setting up the twin guards, obviously for some sort of conflict because they are not of the same mind with the king. I kind of like the fact that Harold Westerling's still alive and Graham Tavish is going to be in this because he's fucking awesome. He's a great actor.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I was like, man, they're going to waste him on this character, but then they didn't. So I'm like, all right, cool. So he's going to be like Kirsten Selmy, maybe a little bit, you know,
a little bit.
One of the virtues of this kind of Game of Thrones style storytelling is that I couldn't really predict where it would go. Like anything could happen. Did everyone just get wiped out, killed? Like when they were funneling all the servants on, I was wondering, is there going to be a slaughter where they'll just kill every single servant to make sure the word doesn't get out or anything like that? And that kept me on the edge of my seat through most of the episode. And I was expecting something, you know, to go awry with the crowning and everything. Wasn't expecting a dragon, but
well, that's kind of what I wanted to see too. I wanted to see because they would know, like among the staff, who favored Rhaenyra, and you would immediately see them killing those people and then securing the rest. But they didn't show that. It's like they rushed through that part of it as well, of basically trying to silence everyone in the castle.
I was going to complain if that guy on the horse managed to get out of the city, but they stopped him at the gate.
Yeah, I was too. I had like a note here. It's like, they're letting him go? I thought there was this big thing about swearing fealty and then making sure the word doesn't get out. for me, it didn't even make sense he got that far and that close to getting out. It's like as soon as he tries to leave the keep, they're like, "Oh no, you can't go anywhere."
There was a pattern in this episode of where are the guards? Now, when Rhaenys was saved, where was the guards? You have one king's guard managed, and he even shouts like, "Get out of my way!" before he gets to a door. And I was like, how? She's incredibly high value, and that happened. Where are the guards on the dragon pit? They should be fucking all over that place. They should be never letting any dragon riders on, because that's going to be detrimental as hell to all the plans. Where were the guards in the example we were just talking about? Like, there's a lot of places the guards should probably be. I feel like they
put the B team on this episode. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
We're saying HBO felt like the B team, felt like the second unit was running an episode.
Speaking of dragons, is the dragon pit destroyed now?
I guess the ceiling is.
Maybe the ceiling of just one alcove where I don't know.
Or is, yeah. I mean, it's destroyed later, and when Nate was destroyed, they're in a big open dragon pit.
I was surprised. I didn't even know it was underneath that big building. I thought when she snuck out, she was just that's an exit and then she was going to go to the dragon pit was outside of the city.
I thought it was the set for a second there.
Episode 1 where she lands the dragon. That shows the entrance to the dragon pit well outside of the city. But then again, we saw the prank with the pig. That was in that was that in that building?
But that was deep inside it. So
deep inside.
She wanted to get out quicker. I just thought I knew she would blast out. I just didn't think she'd blast out in the middle of the floor. That was what? Yeah. You went for spectacle over making sense. Stop it. We don't want that with this show. That was bad Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Bad.
It's a warning sign. It's a warning sign of things to come if they're willing to make that compromise once again.
Is gone, and he's the guy who goes over spectacle over.
So maybe this was just his grubby fingers.
Westerling resigns, and they let him resign, and they don't kill him immediately. So that's weird. But he's an honored lord, and like you might not like Otto Hightower, but he does have a bit of honor. He except for the wanting to kill Rhaenyra and her kid, but that's for the realm, folks. That's totally different. It's totally different.
I mean,
what they changed from the books, real quick, from King Viserys dying, he sits in his bed and rots for days. They lock the door. The servant who notifies Alicent, all the servants get locked up, and then all potential allies to Team Black get locked up. They make the Lord swear fealty. Those who don't are hanged. So that part was right. But yeah, they like Alicent.
They got through it pretty quickly.
Yeah, Alicent and Otto, but mostly Alicent orders the staff to be locked up, or the doors to be locked. No ravens are to be sent at all. Nobody's. We're gonna decide this, and they have the Green Council. Lord Beesbury dies. There is no Harold Westerling, but it takes days for them to figure out like how they're gonna do this, and then they give Rhaenyra terms. They give her like legit terms, like you just bend the knee and everything will be fine. But Rhaenyra in the book is giving birth during it. So that's why that's why they got time to put Aegon on the throne. They were very lucky that Rhaenyra was giving birth at that time, which she's obviously not now.
I mean, was Rhaenyra near the Red Keep at that time when it was?
She was on Dragonstone having a baby. But they did the baby sooner, and a lot of the changes I think were for, well, obviously to keep Graham McTavish around. That was one of the changes with Kristen Cole. Giving Rhaenys more screen time, more book time was definitely a decision for girl power. Let's just say it, call it for what it is. And to show a dragon at the end, so we can have girl power on dragon, so people will talk about it on Twitter. Unfortunately, it didn't really work for the show. It just didn't, and it's a massive. in the book, you know.
No, I
It's
wouldn't
just
have had a
over,
problem
like-
with them introducing Melees because how they've been introducing the dragon so far has been very meticulous, and I liked how they've done it. We've gotten to know them and their personalities a little bit. So they could have done it like Shad had suggested, but instead it's just this ridiculous show with no result that makes sense and consequences of which could turn everyone against the blacks. It just
Yes, that's actually something that I meant to mention.
Good point.
I don't know if the show is aware of this, but that event, that's like a genocide. Like
It
the amount of
was.
people just died. And they can easily say, like, that's Rhaenys, that's one of the traitors to the crown that's trying to... they would rather see all of you dead than lose the crown. They're about power, you know. But I don't even know if the show's going to bring that up.
You know, that's annoying. And I don't think they will too by nature of how they wanted to sell it. It'll just be...
Well, they're going to have to try to sell it that there's probably some people who are on Rhaenyra's side and some people on Aegon's, but like we've been told time and time and time again in this series that the fucking small folk could care less who's sitting on the throne. They don't give a shit. It's the same guy, you know, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. So they don't care. But what to MauLer's point, but they will care that a bunch of them got killed.
yeah.
And
It's just justified taking Rhaenyra off the throne and hanging her for what she just caused, because that's who's to blame for this ultimately.
Also, people are saying, like, that's not what genocide means. Like, look it up. When you destroy that many people from the same, let's call it nation, being King's Landing, what Daenerys did was like a genocide as well. I'm serious. Check the bodies. That scene was insane. She killed so many people.
Oh, well, it's interesting. I actually have a note on like how many people were in that because it looks so epic. Because like, wow, they've really stepped up to really show that there are thousands and thousands of people. This is a huge space, and so many were in that center area where the dragon just was like that's a lot of people.
But they
dead.
set it up. They had Alicent tell us that she wanted him crowned in front of everyone to legitimize his reign. So
over Otto's,
right. And now Rhaenys has just killed half of them.
Yeah, which more. I have a feeling they're going to restock King's Landing as if nothing happened.
Well, I mean, in terms of the population of a city, I didn't get the impression there was a lot of people there, but I didn't get the impression that that would have been the entire population of the city. I felt there would have to be a lot of overflow. There would have to be at least 3 to 5 times that amount to get close to what the full population.
There's an entire district where a lot of mommies and daddies aren't coming home. Areas had that like trend on Twitter. So, Rhaenys. So this is Alicent talking to Kristen Cole after the cold-blooded murder of Beesbury, which does happen in the book. That's fine. And she's like telling them, hey, be cool. I need you to find my son and bring him straight to me for the love you bear me. Basically, she says,
I know.
They totally put it on, by the way. I think they put that on.
Really? So I don't think they're doing that because they have such a she was married and they're so pious and things. I reckon now there's an opportunity where he might be able to hook up. But still, they come out like without a doubt now that he's in love with her. She's known it and she's been using that to her advantage, manipulating him. It's like, all right, interesting. I mean, I think it works fine for the story and stuff. Like, Alicent is starting to become a tyrant. They are reluctant to make her go all the way. And, like, I hope it's not just because, women better than men kind of thing. She won't be as evil. Because I think, as I said, the progression of a character should be a concession, moral concession until she basically is now fully committed. She can't change the course. And she just goes all in.
Yeah, and it seems like that's what they're doing. Like, she's in denial about, like, pouring her feet out for Loras, and
they're doing it, but they continue to make it men's fault for some reason, as opposed to her own ambition.
Well, they want to say that, but when you watch the show, there's so many things that she's doing a lot of things as well. So, it's just because they do want that woke messaging, but then they betray themselves by, if you watch them, pay attention. There's like, no, she is manipulating men and being pretty awful, like, and has a lot of power and all of that.
Well, you can't kill that many people and get away with it.
Also she's using a boy against his will to screw over another woman. So
and that I found interesting as well. I kind of was glad that they remained true to Aegon's character. He does not want to be king. That's perfectly in line with it. And I just like, Alicent actually acknowledge that. It's like, all right, if he really doesn't want to be king, maybe making him king isn't the best decision. Though he seems to get into it at the end. He starts to like the
not
power.
only just that, but she knows now without question the rumors about him are true.
Oh yeah.
His character. This is the person you want to be king.
Did they pass that on, or did they tell him that he was been whoring out and constantly?
I mean, no, it was very clear to her that he raped that girl.
Yeah, that. But I'm talking about like how it's established in this episode that he has fathered heaps of bastards as well, and just abandoned those poor kids and done and even worse. Like when it revealed that he was watching and betting on kids, that was like seeing. And look, I know it's the world is meant to portray that way, but that sickened me particularly strong. And then the fact that he likes that type of thing, I was like, well, you're doing a great job to make me freaking despise Aegon.
He's unsuited. Yeah.
He's horrible. He's absolutely horrible.
I was kind of hoping that Aemond would kill him just so you get the throne. It's like he's unsuited. You do the right thing for the realm. Stop him becoming king.
He wants to. What I was telling MauLer, there's a pretty good rule in the story of like, there's nothing worse than kinslaying, which keeps a lot of interesting stories going because you could just have a brother. You would just have a brother killing a brother to become king all the time. Now it certainly happens in the story. But honor does keep a lot of people from doing it, including Aemond, believe it or not. Organized bonfire for $20 says, hasn't it been established that the bells of King's Landing can be heard from Dragonstone? I don't know about that. I've never heard that. I've read
surprised.
Dragonstone's like it's far. It's like a half day sail, a day sail, something like that.
I feel like if they were that loud, they'd be killing the people it rings next to.
Mm-hmm. If the Greens wanted to keep the Blacks from learning about Viserys' death or Aegon's crowning, why would they be ringing the bells? I don't think they can hear them.
Well,
I don't think they can hear them.
I mean, I don't recall them ringing them immediately.
I was going to say, surely the criticism would just be that they shouldn't be ringing the bells at all because that'll tell King's Landing. But I don't know that they were ringing the bells for the death of Viserys, were they? I don't remember if that happened.
I thought the bells rung when he was crowned. I didn't notice.
Yeah, I thought it was for crowning. I didn't notice, but we'll have to check in a second watch. So they're looking for Aegon. He's missing. He's out in some like not just your regular old brothel. Like we just said, he's at the nasty, disgusting part of town.
Where they really show it nasty. It's like the kids being abused and forced to fight to the death. I was just like,
their teeth to make them more intimidating or whatever.
I know. It's like, whoa. Yeah. And Aegon likes that stuff. I was like, get rid of that guy. And then when they showed that one was his own child, like, whoa, I really hate Aegon. No, that's their intent. They want me to. They're doing a good job.
Yeah. Having him enjoy watching kids kill each other, it's like, so he's horrible. I saw someone say he's worse than Joffrey. I was like, I don't know if he's worse than Joffrey. Joffrey was
bad, but watching your own kids kill other kids,
that's
yeah.
Yep. So yeah, we have 2 King's Guard, the twins looking for him, and we've got Aemond and Sir Criston Cole looking for him, and whoever finds them first, either if the twins find him, it goes back to Alicent. If these guys find him, he goes to Otto. And this is all about Rhaenyra. If Aegon is taken to Otto immediately, Otto's going to say, well, you need to kill Rhaenyra and her kids right now. You need to get on your dragon. We'll send some people over there. Actually, he was going to. That's why Harold Westerling left. Mm-hmm. He's like, we need you to take some King's Guards over there to kill Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
The kids. And he's like, no.
I'm not even sure how they thought that was going to work.
Yeah, I thought Otto was just gonna. Yeah, I thought Otto was just gonna convince him that as king, that's what his first act needs to secure his rule and wipe them out. It could be,
which is common in this universe. That's probably why it was such a concern. Again, echoing because you said, Gary, you said right that the idea with this is that it's kind of all supposed to foreshadow everything that happens in Game of Thrones. Like there's loads of connections at this point, lots of events that match completely, but slightly different decisions here and there that cause different results. Makes for interesting stuff.
Yeah, it does. Well, it's the nature of the world, and heavy's the weight of the crown, and that's why they always talk about like completely breaking the system. But if you break the system, you're gonna kill everybody. Just so you know. Like
everything falls apart when you get a good person mixed in because they don't let the wheels spin as fast and get rid of small amounts of people to save large amounts, that sort of thing. But I was going to ask, by the way, because I saw some people mentioning it, because I don't know my Game of Thrones history this well, but I thought that the place they were in when they were doing the coronation looked, or swearing in, whatever it is, looked like the Sept of Baelor, like an old one or whatever. But people say, no, he's not even alive yet, the Baelor, the Blessed, right? Is that what
he's not alive? No, he comes after this.
Yeah.
Dorne isn't even in the Seven Kingdoms. They say King the Roaring Nar and the First Men, but they're just saying it. They really aren't. Dorne is not part of the Seven Kingdoms yet.
Someone's curious, like, why would what Dany does in the future affect anything a character's perspective has? Because this regards to the whole burning the whole world. When we talk about the point the show is making, Shad, I think, mentioned this, like, it's the difference between the show making it and the character making it. Mm-hmm. You can have a character say, I hate all men because they were repeatedly tortured by men or something. And we'd be like, well, I guess that kind of makes sense. They'd say that. But if the show backs it by having like events that follow or characters don't challenge it, that's when it gets like a little bit frustrating. It's like, oh, that just seems like something you wanted to have as a message or something. No, that's not as overt as what's happening here. But I keep getting confused. We've had several lines about how men will destroy the world. Mm-hmm. That's what that means. And I'm saying that as part of their lore, and I already said it's literally in this episode, so it's really weird that they do that. But yes, it's not me like trying to rip apart this show because of another show. I just mean it's really strange that they're writing it like this without any awareness. And I guess now we don't even need Game of Thrones. We can just say, you know, Rhaenys is the only one we've seen do something. Like I said, it's tantamount to a genocide. Genocide doesn't have to be genes, by the way. It can be religion as well.
Now it's out of character for her. For what
Yes, I agree. I think it's out of character for her. She was talking. She seems to be invested in lower deaths. You know.
You know what would be funny? She bursts out and she's like, "Oh crap! This came out here. Oh my god!
Sorry."
Yeah, because I think I did actually have that fleeting thought when that happened, when she was bursting through. I was like, why does she want to kill everybody? Like, is that part of? Because I thought for a second, like, is that part of the like wipe out the people? That I don't think that's gonna. Like, I don't know what plan you're trying to
into it and kill everybody. The dragon should just start flooring it, just blowing everyone away. But pick one. You can't have her be righteous and also a murderer.
Yep, which she was. We saw the tail knocking people and breaking them basically in half. We saw giant pieces of stone crushing people. People died.
Oh, yeah. Saw it. I could have been close to 1,000 people.
Unless you're just trying to say, like, all Targaryens are fucking assholes.
That was the swearing in the king. Like, I know this sounds a little harsh, but like most of the upper, if there is classes in King's Landing, most of the upper class are going to be the ones that were wiped out, right?
I actually paid attention to the crowd because I was wondering, are they just doing like rags, peasants, and everything? Of course, I was like, no, there looked to be like some half well-dressed tradesmen there and merchants
and gold cloaks. So she killed a bunch of gold cloaks. Maybe, you know,
in the balcony, there were a lot of people who looked like they were of high status, and the balconies were completely destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there should be some houses they're upset.
Yeah, my first reaction is they did not ever come through the middle of the floor.
I mean, it would be great if they actually, you know, did play out the consequences of that, and the Greens could use it to their advantage by saying, "Look, the Blacks attacked King's Landing and everything." Because if I was one of the people of King's Landing, I'd be friggin' hell. Screw the Blacks. It's like my cousin and brother just got killed.
Well, it's going to get in the way of something. Because you heard in the trailer for next week.
I haven't seen the trailer for next week.
Oh, okay.
Me neither.
Well, some people like overreacting, like saying a little bit sissy to be like, "Oh, she killed a whole bunch of people." I was like, "What?
What are you kidding? Nearly 1,000 people? That's a horrifying slaughter and massacre."
Let me clarify. I don't like care that they died because they're fake and it's a TV show. It just doesn't make sense within the TV show.
Yeah, I think it fucks with characters, and it's gonna cause.
That was supposed to be a Slay Queen hero moment. She fucking killed a bunch of people.
And like already people are celebrating it. I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like,
no, like even if it's fake, you should take things like this seriously, because what it actually says about, you know, what people care about other people. Like if they think this type of character is one to be celebrated because of girl power, when she wipes out like seemingly thousands of people, that is very revealing to what they're willing to justify to get girl power.
It's revealing to the writers. It's the writers like just total lack of morality and going, wouldn't it make our hero look a little bad if her dragon sat on 1,000 people and killed them?
And he was just stepping on them too.
No one just raised that. It's like, okay, yes, but you know, genocide.
The one argument I can make that would possibly be in line with the show again is if they're just trying to portray the Targaryens as monsters. And like Daemon, we're rooting for Daemon. They killed an innocent guy for the happy ending for Laenor, and Laenor was totally fine with like that could have been like his boy from the castle, you know, like we don't know. So that could be an explanation. Just saying.
But well, we've seen Daemon behave in line with his character. Like you said, this isn't Rhaenys. Like
it's not.
Yeah, good point.
Rhaenys said like unless she wasn't being real, which you can I guess make an argument in this episode. Like I'm over not getting the throne. Like I'm completely over it. I just don't want my children to die, you know. Maybe they're dead now. Maybe she black-pilled when she saw Vaemon, you know, die right in front of her, and she's like, good God.
That's the thing. I'm not quite sure what to gather from it, because she is the main character that's had the whole like men will destroy the world, we have to stop them sort of attitude, which is why it's the most bizarre choice to have her be the one that destroys the world. Because if you want me to think like she sees Vaemon's death, she can see all the death coming, she's like, oh, we gotta, you know, make steps to prevent all this suffering or whatever. I just feel like she's not the character to do with what you did. She might be the worst one to do it, actually.
And if this was her effort to convey to them to leave her alone or leave her out of it, I can't see how they do that now.
It's like it was a declaration of war. Yeah, and it was bizarre that then she left him alive, you know, but still, that was a massive, like, aggressive action.
To clarify, someone said, wasn't it Alicent that said men destroy the world? It's like, I think was it episode 2 that Rhaenys told Rhaenyra that men will put the world to the torch if they can't remain in power or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's definitely been Rhaenys' perspective, which I was more than happy to appreciate as being part of her history. She's been scorned by different decisions that, from her point of view, men have made, and that they would never want to see a woman on the throne. It's like, okay. It's just a bit awkward when you do the thing at the end. It's fine. It's fine. I'm sure.
She's prisoner, and Alicent finally goes to visit her and tells her that her cousin is dead. King Viserys is dead, and you should swear fealty to us and Aegon. And she's like, well, that's a bold move. It's a bold move. I didn't think you were capable of it, but now you got my respect. And then she whispers in her ear, but you're still like basically putting a window in your own cage. And this is where we get the little feminism here. She goes, you're still trapped. You're still doing the bidding of men. And like, I could find dad, uncle, your son. It's like, wait a minute. She put her son, like, her logic was not good there, because like she's putting her son on the throne.
Exactly.
They've shown us nothing but scenes of Aegon almost crying every time she tries to get him to do everything she wants. No, I'm not defending Aegon. He seems to be a piece of shit, but it's very likely he's a piece of shit because of her awful parenting.
Yeah,
right. He seems to be doing everything he can not to be king. And she's just not paying any attention to it. She doesn't care, because she is in it for herself and her family name just as much as her father is. But it's like the show writers don't want to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
What we seem to be shown is Aegon is only experiencing some level of happiness with kingness because he's being admired. That seems to be the only thing he actually likes so far.
That's true. Like, that's actually an interesting perspective, because no one has admired him, and that obviously got to him. He says, my father hated me. And he asks her, do you love me? And then suddenly he's getting adoration and love from everyone, and he's gets a bit drunk on it. So okay, that's actually a good. Good.
Oh yeah, I'm just suggesting that's the only thing he's enjoying about which is not a good side,
Seems the writers know the Gen Z crowd don't care when their girl bosses kill a bunch of people. Also hate how showrunners have clear bias. They go out of their way to show Greens as bad as possible and whitewash Rhaenyra. That's what it feels like they're kind of doing. Nora, thank you for the 1999. That could change.
Yeah.
This might be her like last grasp at being nice and trying to play nice. And I mean, I just won't say anything.
Listen, I'll do it for you, Gary. I don't even know what's going to happen. There's a lot of people to kill, a lot of characters with power, a lot of agency. We're going to see some negative things happen, I imagine.
Yes.
Negative things. Yeah.
Negative things.
Yes.
One way to put it.
You're going to be wishing Alaris was jerking off to some feet, okay?
Hey, who knows? It could get so crazy. We could even see a character kill hundreds, thousands of people, maybe. Imagine that. That happening.
I mean, in terms of speaking of Alicent, it does raise an interesting question about her motivations and if there's consistency here. Like, why does she actually want her son on the throne? They try and sell it that it's to fulfill the king's wishes now. But then it was about to protect her children, that if they're not on the throne, Otto has whispered in her ear enough to say that if you do not claim the throne, they're going to be killed off to secure Rhaenyra's reign. And so, all right, no, they did set that up, I think. This is her feeling trapped that the only way to protect her children, even though they're awful, is this.
I was going to say, I think that's the idea, is that it's not that she even believes Aegon is good for the throne necessarily. It's just that it's either him or Rhaenyra, and the opposite players are likely going to get wiped out. And she's decided, no, we won't wipe out Rhaenyra. And I imagine she's going to regret that. Because things are going to get worse.
I know, like things might have played out differently if Daemon wasn't on her side, but now David's on that side, and that's when, they're going to go nuclear. They're not going to stand for this slight at all.
Nor should they. It's treason.
And the whole point of this was there's just 2 second sons who are scorned, right? Or feel scorned. We got Daemon, who like legit got scorned based on the rules of the Council of 102. He should have been the next in line, not Rhaenyra, according to the rules of this world. And then there's Aemond, who's gotten ready. He's like, he even says it in the show, and I love it. And he's like, in his first scene, that one episode with that kid, with the kid version of Aemon, was more character progression than you'll ever see in Rings of Power in all 5 seasons of any character ever. The kid was so good. But in this one, he says to Kristen Cole, he's like, basically, I've read my histories. I'm ready to go. I want to be king. If they're looking for me, I will make sure I am found. I mean, would he make a good king? Who knows?
I think he would.
He was staggered for a bit when Aegon suggested, like, just let me leave, let me get on a ship and leave. And he was just like,
Yeah. And he might have done it, but then Cole comes in and says, we're taking you to your mother. And so
I think he could have stopped Cole, though.
Are we allowed to talk about that bit yet, or is that a bit too far ahead?
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Okay.
We'll get there. This is Rhaenys and Alicent having their girl boss conversation, and it still didn't make me hate Rhaenys. Like, she just basically said, have you not imagined yourself on the Iron Throne, which is putting a little worm in her head too. So like, she's not dumb, but like the Alicent butters her up a little bit and says, like, you would have been a better queen than Viserys, a king. He would have been he just wanted to be a country lord, reading about his histories and stuff. And I would argue that's probably a pretty good king, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I also add, like, there's just one little detail I really liked. They gave Viserys the title. He is Viserys the Peaceful.
Yay.
Like, yes. That's so true to his character, and out of any way to be remembered, that's a great way to be remembered. It's like, nice little detail.
Yeah, and then Rhaenys proves like why she should have never been queen.
Yes, absolutely. And what's interesting with this, like, whole, like, have you not thought of the idea of you being on the throne? I'm just sitting here like, how is that going to be convincing at all? Like, there's no claim, and everyone would go nuts if she did that. Like, this,
she's on the throne right now.
No, yeah, but that's the thing. Yeah. Everything in but name, like, it not actually being on the throne, because that would make everyone like, what the fuck. So yeah, you're right. Like, why even worry about being on the throne? You have all the power in the kingdom anyway. Even with your son on the throne, you'd maintain that pretty much.
That's the odd thing about
your son gets older.
That's why this feminist message is odd. They're trying to say that no real woman has power unless they are on the throne itself. When she is like been controlling the kingdom for a good while yet, she has men that is doing beck and call, that she's manipulating everything. She has insane power and control. And so, sure, your message about women, not being able to be called the king, and I was like, queen. I mean, so you're not.
Rhaenys kind of really comes across as very bitter, and angry, and in denial, maybe even slightly delusional at the power that these women actually do wield around her, because she doesn't have it.
Well, you know, when I think it was episode 7, when she's like, "Oh, come on, Corlys, you're the one that cares about the throne. It's not me. I've gotten over it years ago." I remember being like, "No, you haven't, liar."
Right.
This is clear from everything that she does, every way she operates. She's always been annoyed that a throne was stolen from her. And it's okay to be bitter about that, okay? Like, it's frustrating.
Admit it.
I mean, like, it was so close. Fuck.
Yeah.
There's a great, as Cersei says that all the time in A Song of Ice and Fire, how she hates being a girl. She's like, I fucking hate being a girl. So this is where the White Worm returns and actually meets Otto Hightower face to face, and she actually grabbed the king when Alicent's servant put that little signal in the window of the candles. That obviously let her know, like, go get the king. Viserys is dead. So she went to one of the brothels, and made a smart political move to save the children of King's Landing.
Yeah,
the same children using as spies.
Exactly.
I like that. You see some of her motivation, like she's wants what's going on with the children stop,
and money,
as well.
Well, money's useful.
They tried to make like Varys kind of like that too. In the book, you're not sure. You're just not. As a matter of fact, the kid, his little birds in the books. You remember this, Jayne? At the end of A Dance with Dragons, they all have black eyes. They have they're like dead, or something's wrong with them. They're either like drugged up or dead or something. They're like little dead children, which is fucking cool, by the way. But yeah, I don't think he cares about the children. I don't think she does either. But
no.
So you have, it's Eric Cargill. They're both called Eric Cargill, the twins. They're both Eric and Edic. Yeah.
Not at all confusing.
Not at all confusing, but like George tried to be funny with the naming. Like they're what is it on? It's Tully. There's they're named after Sesame. There's Kermit.
Oh yeah.
They're all named after Muppets. So yeah, like it gets a little weird because, you know, who knew this would be a series, a super serious series. So yeah, basically he says, here's some gold or silver. Tell me where Aegon is, and he is in the Sept, by the way. And then she like basically threatens Otto Hightower. She threatens Otto Hightower. And
I loved his response.
Yeah, his response was great. It's like, I will remember, meaning I won't forget this slight. I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, that's what I thought he was saying. Like,
definitely what he was saying, by the way. And that's where you balance the like those girl power moments. Is like, she can be powerful. She's a powerful woman, right? But she just fucking talks shit to the hand of the fucking king. And he's like, oh yeah, I'll remember.
He had a lot of good moments in this episode. Also, like Rhys fans for acting as well. Like, there's a lot of, he was pushed to some limits, had to make some quick decisions. A lot of power coming from his.
He was the best thing in this episode, dude. He was the best thing in this episode.
He was in his element this entire episode.
It's very well depicted. It's fully in line with his character. He is like full tyrant, now for me.
Right. Rhaenys OnlyFans is a great actor, by the
way. He is. This is the thing. You say tyrant, just like it just seems to me that he's been characterized at this point. He believes this is the correct course, the best course. But he's it's been entertaining to watch. Yeah,
it is. It's just forced, even from the opening, and with Cole and the court, almost as if he was being led down a weird tunnel of manipulation with a side of brutality. Kick ass and take no prisoners.
We were being led down a weird tunnel of manipulation. What do they mean?
Yeah, that probably is in reference to something we said earlier. So even
but we don't want to kick as is.
As is great.
Yeah,
I think they're talking about Alicent's manipulation from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I'll watch the episode again, and I think you could make an argument with Alicent, like I said earlier, like she's trying to hang on to a little bit of morality, but it's like going quick. It's going quick, and like once your children are threatened, and but I thought that little thing where Aegon, like he gets the knife and he like, well, I'm getting ahead of myself, but he's like, "Do you love me, Mom?" And she goes, "You imbecile," but she didn't answer the fucking question.
I assume the point of that is, of course, I do.
Yeah, why are you asking me, you moron? That is my impression.
Well, I question.
You're right. Still doesn't answer the question, and she might not. Like, she said, "You're dead to me" in the last episode.
Yeah, she said, son of mine. And to be honest with you, they cut the scene off after she said that, but I hope she said something reassuring. That kid needs you to say it, okay? He needs it very overt.
Yeah, like you've been a horrible parent to that kid, okay? Like Rhaenyra, we were down on Rhaenyra, but she's been a good mom to her kids.
She has. She's
been
a good
great mom to her kids. So.
Damon's been a great dad, what they've shown. Yeah. And they are, they've already set up Aegon to be this horrible tyrant, and the parents have been abusive, and now he's going to be drunk on power, and he's like, oh, yes, the Greens need to be defeated. I'm now Team Black all the way.
Yeah, and I mean, this is like, I mean, Jayne, we read the books that like this stands out so much. This is why I always felt the book was very pro Rhaenyra and very, even with the Archmaester writing it, like they were really down, and they're like, the High Towers are the lords of the High Tower where the Citadel is, and they were down on Alicent. So
yes,
I think that's interesting. I think that's very interesting,
and it's a decision. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to, I don't know, highlight that bias for some reason. Maybe it will play into something in the future. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like we need to be wary of Hollywood because this agenda shit is everywhere, folks. It's what ruined the Rings of Power from the get-go. It's what's ruined Marvel right now. It's what's ruined Star Wars, Star Trek. It's ruined so much shit for us to like give a show the benefit of the doubt, which we did not, by the way. I still don't. This show could still go off the rails at any minute, and it wouldn't surprise me at all. This was the closest it's got to like annoying the shit out of me, but I still liked most of it. But man, they keep doing this shit. Later.
Yeah.
I'm out. So
I'm still just baffled that they had that as the ending scene would say it all. I just don't get it, man. I just don't get it. You got one episode. You best not forget what you've done, show.
The writer and the director looked I think it was the same director from last week, though. Might have been. I'll just say the writer was different. The writer was different. So
yeah.
And it really felt different. But it doesn't matter. Like Jennifer Hutchinson has written brilliant Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul episodes. So I wouldn't even get. I mean, she also co-wrote the last episode of The Rings of Power, which was total garbage. And I was like, how can that be the same writer? Showrunners. It's the showrunners. So like, even if you got a writer's name on this, this is Ryan Condell and Mikhail Sapochnik all the way through. Mikhail Sapochnik is gone now, which I think is great. And they got a more old school Game of Thrones from the first 2-3 seasons, which we talked about before. He's on board now, which I think is much better. I think it's a much better move. I'm blanking on his name right now, but he directed some like Battle of the Blackwater, some of the good stuff. So they find Aegon. He's like, fuck this. I don't want to do it. And then Kristen Cole fights Eric Cargill, one of them.
So this
small little autistic detail that I have to mention is like the sword that the other twin guy is using, it's a falchion, and it's a proper looking falchion too. It's like medieval details. At least the show hasn't abandoned that. Okay. People still working on the side dressings. They're doing a good job.
Tell this guy what a falchion is, please.
Falchion is a medieval single-edged sword, and so sometimes they're curved, not always. Sometimes they're straight, but they're specifically single-edged, and their handle looks like a regular kind of knight cruciform sword. And you rarely see them in like medieval shows because they're a bit gone, like unacknowledged in popular media, even though they were prominent enough. And so seeing one used when they're usually unacknowledged, I was like, good to see.
What's the point of that one aside being able to cut your steak? Hacking, maybe? Is it like, is it a hacking?
It was actually in an appropriate situation because they're fighting. They were in the context, they would be aware they'd be fighting outside of armor, and the falchion is particularly useful at cutting up cloth and flesh. It's like a massive razor blade. It's not a heavy sword. That's what people get wrong about them. They're because they look bigger, but they're extremely thin. They have these really thin, narrow blades, which just are insane slicing machines.
Is it as powerful as Aemon's jaw? I wonder.
Dude,
no, Aemon's jaw would probably snap it in two.
Dude, no, they needed to find a foil for Matt Smith's jaw, and I think
they did.
Then they
Aemon's chin. It's not his jaw; it's his chin.
Yeah.
It's the combination. His jaw is uniquely narrow and high raised, and which just points the profile down to that epic chin. And see how wide his chin is. It's amazing.
You could club someone with that. Yeah.
Incredible.
That guy's got to play the Joker. That guy has got to play the Joker. That's a proper comic book Joker chin right there.
Wow. Yeah.
It is.
That could work.
Yeah. I really they got to play Aegon though, because like he looks like freaking Aegon, like how depictions of Aegon, he looks like the singer of of an emo band, kind of what it looked like. So
yeah. So I was gonna say, mechanically, how did we get here? And it's like, well, the two twos went off to find Aegon, and the reason they've kind of like, I don't know what to think about the fact that Aemond and Kristen Cole basically give up. They're like, we're not finding him. This sucks. And then Kristen Cole just goes, oh, look, the king's hand is talking to the White Worm. Wow.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, wow. Because that just chance look over there means that all of this happens the way that it does. And I was just like, okay.
Yeah. It is annoying. The thing is, the reality is circumstances like that do sometimes happen, and it depends how far shows push it and how regular. Like with Rings of Power, we have arbitrary circumstantial bullcrap justifying most of the events. And just like, maybe I could justify one thing because they do happen in reality. It's just, serendipity, And that seems to be one of the few times in the show.
What if they were working together and said, maybe we're looking too hard. Maybe if we look a little hard, we'll find it.
Well, because I was going to say, the twins having their disagreement, like that made this scene happen the way it did. If Kristen Cole had to take on the two of them at the same time, maybe that would have been cool to show that he can outclass the both of them. But those two having an argument, which probably did it strike anyone else as weird? That I get it. One twin is like pro Aegon, one of them is very anti Aegon, so defending Aegon is not interesting. But that is your brother that is close to getting killed. There, you might want to.
Yeah, good point. Was he? Yeah, letting the king get away is one thing, but not defending your brother.
I feel like he assumed he wasn't going to kill him.
He wasn't going to kill him. Yeah, things
can happen, right?
Just a duel. I mean, yes.
It would have been all right. Like, thing is, we've seen Sir Cole, step over the line multiple times.
He accidentally killed an old man this episode.
Later on in the episode, though, he kind of proves what he's out. So,
but here they are on the same side. It's just who do we?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not appealing to like the political edge. I just would have thought because he's your twin, you'd be like, oh shit, I don't want him to get hurt. I guess
I would certainly get in there and start scrapping. If I had a brother.
Yeah.
If it was my sister, I'd kill him. But I got a little sister. She's cool. All right. So is this this is Alicent and Otto. This is a good scene. I like it.
Yeah, I did as well, where she finally basically lays it clear. It's like, you've manipulated me my whole life, basically.
And he did say, if that's true, then I got you a shit ton of good stuff, right? And then she's like, I don't know, did you? Is that stuff I even wanted? Or is it stuff you wanted me to want? And thus...
Exactly. She says, I wanted whatever you impressed upon me to want. I probably got the wording slightly wrong there, but yeah, I'm glad she realizes now.
Yeah. She's like, I've just been a piece in the game. And he's like, but he comes back with your queen.
Exactly.
And, he does.
You're the most powerful I think in the realm at this very moment.
That is Otto's character. He would be like, why aren't you thanking me? I did manipulate you, but you have lots of things, like, don't you like them?
Then he's like, you do look like your mother in that light. And she kind of rolls her eyes.
And he's still proud of it, even though they disagree. Sorry, what?
I think he was a little impressed by her in that moment, though.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. And she rolled her eyes, but still, they're going to be working together. I think we can all assume that.
Yeah, it would be crazy of them to try and splinter off their own plans. Like, united, they need to be. But
Rhaenyra would win pretty easily at that point. Yeah. So then we have.
Yay.
I mean, like, poor Larys probably. Well, there's brothels. Larys, there's brothels, buddy.
Yeah, but some people get off on the power thing, and this is the queen.
This is the queen. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And again, like her showing leg is definitely like basically getting naked.
I mean, for this, I can see that they could interpret that for this setting, but if the idea that this is what the medieval period was like, people often impose kind of like Victorian era puritanism onto the medieval period, when medieval people actually had to just live with nudity as a more common fact of life, because there was having privacy was a luxury for the rich. And so if you have a look at medieval art, they have some of the most crass jokes where there's like this weird painting of a guy picking dongs off of a tree into a bag and stuff. And like there's some whack medieval art. They found penises very funny.
Well, that's what the tapestries were about, right? That we saw all over the castle.
In the context of the story, Alicent Hightower is a very conservative, religious of the seven of the sept person. So this is, for her to do that is basically getting butt ass naked in front of Larys Strong.
Just another funny detail. There's like a church with these carvings, and one of the carvings up in the pews, it's this monk burying his butt, showing his his little carving. And it's like, it's medieval trolling. It's freaking hilarious, the stuff that they did sometimes.
Dude, ancient civilizations, all they did was make giant stone penises everywhere. But it was like to be fertile, right?
And boobs on everything.
Everywhere. So I was watching Brian Forrester, and he was like in Peru, and he was taking his tour to these to a megalith site, right? And the megalith site, this little girl is running through going, look at all the mushrooms, and it's just all penises. It's like
and they like them. Look up the codpiece. They were very proud of it. Here is my crotch.
Well,
but I get what you're saying. She's the queen. It's very inappropriate for what she's doing. But she's
got her 7-pointed star, her buttons all the way up her neck. Yeah, it's.
Imagine how this first died though. He was like, "I will give you more information if," and she's like, "What?" He's like, "Sure, take off your shoes." And she'd be like, "What?"
How did this start? How would he have the audacity to ask her to do anything, and then she actually do it?
Real good information. I don't know.
Probably just really, really small little concessions. First, you just started with, could I just see, your shoes for a bit? And like, maybe take your shoes off, and then it got into the socks, and then it's like, I have really important information. Just don't Don't say anything while I do something.
On the table. Like, it was very unnatural. Like, it wasn't like, I'm relaxing, taking my, she's like, she almost like went, here are my fucking feet. Like,
that's the thing. I didn't know which way it was definitely going, because I was just like surprised that we were doing that. I was like, oh, okay.
But it's also trusting your audience. Like, they mentioned earlier that she had been spending a lot of time with him. Like, Otto mentions, like, you've been spending a lot of time with my daughter. And Laris, being Laris, goes, well, it doesn't mean it won't help you.
It was actually, a very political and good answer on his behalf, saying, yeah, and that time could serve your ends as well. And that kind of gets him out of Otto's probably his crosshairs. Is like,
yeah. I mean, Otto's been whoring out his daughter, so I'm sure he wouldn't have a problem with it.
Well, it's interesting because there's actually some interesting nuance to try and figure out about this, because this is very comparable to Alicent whoring herself out, but from Alicent's perspective, it's feet, and so she probably thinks, look, it's weird. It's not like I'm stripping naked for him or anything, and so I could see that why this should be more willing to concede to something like this than full on, But
you're right, but it also shows how full of shit she is.
She is full of crap. Yeah. And I kind of like that, duality, contradiction, nuance, and it's the concession she's making to get what she needs. And so it actually kind of fits for a lot of reasons.
It does. She turns away at the end, like as he's getting busy,
as he's doing his business,
self-coupling.
and then they hold the him in the background for just too long. It's like, we get it, but
I caught that. Yeah, I understand.
That's when MauLer's like, they really went Game of Thrones on this one.
They did.
Wow. I'll be honest. I decided to rewatch Game of Thrones, and maybe it's because I'm numb from all the crap they put out there on TV these days. But the later seasons weren't as bad as I remember. Except episode 6 of season 8. All of season 8.
Yeah, episode 5, the bells. You kidding me? That episode's horrible.
The first 2 episodes of season 8 are like boring and setup. Those are fine. Absolutely fine. Yeah. Season 7 has like atrocities in it that are just as bad as season 8. Gendry running to the wall, sending a raven to Daenerys, and then the raven coming back.
She was on Dragonstone, right?
She was on Dragonstone.
Yeah, from the wall.
From the wall. And the way George describes that's like the tip of South America to the bottom of South America. So good luck. I mean, I did the math in my video.
It's a fast bird, man.
The bird is flying nonstop, and birds can't fly nonstop, by the way. They need to rest. But the bird flies nonstop. It's 5 days. 5 days. We're on that island surrounded by a bunch of zombies doing nothing.
Well, yeah, Gary, remember, the only reason the zombies attack is because Clegane threw a stone.
Threw a fucking rock at him.
God.
So, Garrick Manson, I thank you, brother. Thank you for the $9.99. You might be numb to it. You just might.
You might just be numb.
I will agree with you that things have gotten dumber since then. Yes.
I mean, Rings of Power it's just reached new heights. Like I mentioned, we did a season 1 recap overview, and multiple times when I'm just thinking about the whole thing, this might be the worst show. It's up there amongst the worst I've ever seen.
Very bad.
It's certainly the worst adaptation I've ever even heard of.
Period. Worst adaptation. Well, it's probably the worst show I've ever seen.
What about that Cowboy Bebop show? Didn't people consider that
one? The Cowboy Bebop had such dumb stupidity, you could laugh at some moments. So we tried to review it. We didn't get past episode 1, but there was a moment at the beginning of episode 1 before it went off the rails that, okay, he might have made a decent character. They might have, but there were actual things to appreciate, even in Cowboy Bebop.
They replicated some actual scenes in Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
It was just kind of weird, but it wasn't the worst.
There wasn't a single good replication in Rings of Power. There wasn't a single good moment. There wasn't like maybe an actor had a 30 seconds of non-offensively bad dialogue, but that's the best thing I can say. It's terrible. And
yeah. I was pretty impressed, honestly.
The most interesting thing about Rings of Power has been all the videos made have been super entertaining, like uber entertaining. And the story like behind it. They're just full on assault on the fans and everything. It's just like that's that's all people are talking about. Even with this show, which is not our favorite, we're still breaking down the show. And it will still have memes. I will still like it. I will still look forward to next Sunday. You know, like not every show has like, I love Doctor Who. Not every episode is great. There's some fucking massive stinkers in Doctor Who that I'll still watch over Rings of Power 1,000 times. But you know, like I said, like 75% of this episode is good. 75%. There's just like this a couple really insane decisions.
Yeah.
That you're
really
insane.
Really dumb things.
Like dumb.
Just inexplicable.
Game of Thrones season 8 dumb. Like straight up. Sorry.
And so just finishing off the Rings of Power thing, it's just the culmination of everything. And the fact that they had such a huge budget and it was from such a beloved property kind of adjusts my scale in how I'm judging it, because those do need to be considered, because there are crap shows that had no hope, crap from the get-go. There was no redeeming it. This had such potential, okay, to be great because of its insane budget and the source material, and to be this bad, and the fact that they unironically thought it was good. Like, when taken into its totality of all those aspects, it's the worst show ever made. Probably the greatest disaster in entertainment at the moment for me. It's
Did you know, Shad, that the producer of the Rings of Power, Lindsay Weber, is married to the showrunner of the Wheel of Time?
Freaking, are you kidding me? Bloody, oh God! Son of...
There's, oh God.
Yeah, that's a fair reaction.
Stay tuned, folks, for the video. I hope I can do this. I hope I can pull this off. I hope he comes back too, because I miss Shad. I love him.
His warmth we require.
I might have just killed Shad. Please
didn't even need a sword.
Support his book. His family will need. Please support his book. His heirs will need the money. Oh, he's back. He's still alive. I want to make you feel better instantly. Your book has passed $300,000.
It has.
It's blown past it.
Oh, we're making something vastly better than Wheel of Time, Rings of Power, everything. Grab your copy if you guys haven't. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait to get you yours. And it's doing really well. That's great. Ah, friggin' that like
nepotism, dude. Nepotism.
That makes so much sense. Like, I really want to popularize that, like a term that comes from Wheel of Time, and it's that it's got Rafed. The showrunner for Wheel of Time is Rafe Judkins, and the standard of just co-opting such a brilliant like source material to push a political agenda, make your own work because you're not talented enough to make your own story. You're gonna use someone else's stuff to push your own message, everything like that, and attacking the fans. Say all that stuff, it's in Wheel of Time. And so he rafed Wheel of Time, Rings of Power got rafed, Halo got rafed. They are just bending it over and rafing it again and again. And no bloody surprise that there's such a strong connection between Rings of Power and Wheel of Time through Rafe friggin' Judkins. But hang on. So, hang on. No, wait. Are you saying she's married to the showrunner of Wheel of Time? Because he's gay, isn't he?
It's either an EP or the showrunner. It's one of the people involved.
But Rafe Judkins is gay.
Then it's the EP.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still is lots of connections. Doesn't surprise me. It's
Dad, I'm going to be honest with you. Even the gays can get married now.
That's true. That's true.
That is Hollywood for you, though.
Oh my goodness.
I've got lots of notes. I've got lots of notes on things. Lots of things. I want to tell everybody everything now. I do, but I have to run some things. I have to vet some things, but I'll just say that if things turn out okay, I can put a name to all this stuff. It won't be all mystery sources. I will tell you who I talked to. and they're cool with it. But we got to work out some stuff because the last thing I want to do is get somebody in trouble. So Lars is staring at the feet. So that's what he's doing right now. He's like, that's when she pulled out the feet. I'm like I was like MauLer. I was like, she got a little athlete's foot. She just like been in her shoes all day. Is it like rough? Like usurping the throne? It probably is. Usurping the throne's probably a little stressful. But then like he just starts staring. I'm like, oh, he's Joss Whedon. Okay. Or Quentin Tarantino.
Quentin Tarantino's the feet guy. Yeah. There's another feet guy. Is it Nickelodeon? There's a feet guy in Nickelodeon.
I think he's a kid guy. He's a feet weirdo, should be in jail or up against the wall guy.
Joss Whedon, I can't remember if he was a feet. He just liked sexy girls, right? That was he tried to hire.
Joss Whedon, like, of age, sexy girls. That's fine. I have no problem with that. That's called being a producer and a director in Hollywood. And apparently it's the same.
Dan Schneider, that's the one.
Yeah.
What Joss Whedon did, I feel, is pretty darn dirty. He was married, right? And then suddenly gets really famous and he has access to all these women throwing themselves at him. And he's like, oh, it's so unfair that now, all these women are throwing, I'm married and I've committed to a woman and everything and I can't have fun with it. So he gets rid of it so he can have it. So it's like that's scummy as hell.
He was probably cheating before then.
He cheated. But the worst part was he was, a male feminist. That's what he. That's what he put himself off.
Isn't that like why he like told everybody he was like guilty because it's just like I've done the evilness of my feministness. It's just like
indiscretions happen. Like be honest and either get divorced or whatever. But just like if you're going to continue doing it, then just get divorced. I mean, it sucks. Why do you need to be married and be dishonest?
Well, and there were plenty of showrunners that managed to do just fine. I guess he just couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of power that comes with being a showrunner, of course, especially with actors who are like, if I sleep with him, I might survive till the next season.
That's what he said, right? He said, I just had all this power over young women. It's like, ooh.
That's the thing, man. Like, you think about it, and it's like, oh, that must be what a position to be in. It's like, if I fuck him, I can get a job for longer. It's like, oof.
I don't know. Not everybody thinks like that. I'm just gonna say, not every dude thinks like that. Okay,
normal people don't.
Yeah,
it's Hollywood.
What's so weird
full of degenerate people who live in this other world where they
especially all the drugs and
I know a bunch of girls working at the comic store. So what? I just need to know if they like do anything about superheroes and could alphabetize. That's all I gave a shit about.
It's because you're a nice man, Gary. I could believe that they were like, seriously? I can't just like, and you're just like, no, seriously. Tell me who the original Avengers team are. And like,
I had my test that you had to take to work at my shop. It was like basic questions. It would be like, who's Jack Kirby? Who did he create? Give me at least 3 characters that Jack Kirby created. It was a test.
So
making,
Just to mention something, it's funny. I might be getting inundated with requests if I mentioned this, but so we are looking at finding new people to join us on Night's Watch. And guys, no, sorry, if you're not in Australia and you're not in Victoria, but we have thrown out, job offer and stuff. And one of the requirements to get a job is to let us know their thoughts on The Last Jedi. It's the perfect litmus test. It's
love it.
It's like, and then in extension part of it, they have to submit an audition tape of them reviewing The Last Jedi and let me know their thoughts on it.
Absolutely. Oh my God. I need to do, if I ever do that, which.
Well, I was going to say, Gary, it'd be funny if I was like, I'll come work this shop. I'm a nerd. I take your test. I get all the questions wrong because I don't know shit about comics. I'd be like, oh man, can you ask me about some TV shows maybe?
I never put help wanted ads out. I would just, I would work with you. If I thought that you had other strengths, what you do, I would go, I'll work with you. I'll teach you. I'll make you an expert in a year. And plus being in a comics shop just by osmosis, being in there and hearing all the conversations, you'll be an expert in a year. But I never put up help wanted. I just people would come in my shop and I'm like, and they'd hang out a long time. And I'm like, you want a job? You seem pretty cool. It seemed like I could trust you. you know, because I'd say, could you watch the shop for a second? I got to go, go to the bathroom. And they would, and that's how I learned how I could trust people.
Yeah.
And I was near the college, right? So I usually picked like super dorky kids who hung out in the store, do a lot about comics. I'm like, you just want a job? So I gave a couple people their first jobs, and they're doing really well now. And it's a point of pride with me, by the way. So very well. One of them, big time editor. Well, he worked on, he edited Sharknado 1, 2, and 3. I gave him his first job.
Nice.
Cool.
Chris Ortiz, good guy. Off topic, but rewatched last episode and believe Jayne Theory's theory is right about Viserys' last feast. The cuts between serious and laughing, the clencher was auto laughing. It looked so unnatural, like even Viserys could not even imagine it. Yeah, Patty P for 50 Australian dollars. Thank you very much.
Also, laughing is probably the best evidence for it, I think.
I think Jayne, I think you're right. I think Jayne was right on that one. And it makes it so much more tragic. It's so sad. Oh God. That was such a great episode. I just told MauLer, like the scene where he walks in the throne room. I think I've rewatched that 20 times.
It's pretty excellent.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, and take some level of solace in the fact that he believed that family was gonna make it before he died. All right, that's what he thought.
Hey,
I take solace in that. It's like I feel he had a happy enough ending, but he went through. I know he torturous life, but he remained true to the end.
He and Aemon Targaryen from original Game of Thrones, they had the best deaths. They died old. Well, one died much older. Little tear coming down, other boy, Aemon reached out for his brother Egg. He's all Egg. Oh, it was so good. And he got to see his wife, and he didn't get to see his children try to kill each other. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Jack Hall for 50 Australian dollars. The Australians are out because it's night here in the States. Hail to the fellowship. A massive thank you for suffering the garbage so I don't have to say it. You're welcome. I am so glad it's over. I mean, Shad, like that was a rough, like we do this. It's our job. And I get a lot of enjoyment out of it, but that last week was like, okay, enough.
Yeah, we restructured the schedule to fit everything in, but Friday Night Tights was still my highlight. I loved that. But to get like the day of reviewing when Rings of Power out took a whole day, and every episode took me at least 3 hours to get through. I'm not kidding. 3 hours to just watch this single episode and write down all the notes because it was so densely filled with crap.
Shad, do you know what happened to me? I have to watch them and then watch them again with notes. Like that's how I do it. I'm trying to be thorough. I write down all the notes for episode 7. I'm like, gotta do 8, and then I started running out of time, so I tried to watch it faster. Control it faster. I was like, I couldn't. I only got halfway through, so I had an episode and a half's notes. I was like, I'm sure I'll make it work. Start up the episode, I load up my notes, and for some reason episode 7's got deleted. I was just like,
oh no.
But obviously I had Little Platoon, Disparu, Rags, and Friggy and myself and the show up, so I was just like, all right, we'll do this. I'll figure it out. I'll just look at the quotes, I'll remember. God, so annoying.
It was an amazingly bad show, and like you, Gary, I would have checked out after the first or second episode. It was so bad.
There wasn't a single episode I didn't fall asleep on the first time watching it.
And so I'm glad it's over, but in terms of needing to watch it, still going to be staying on watch, keeping track of the defenses of it, with a cope around it, and all of that. And
dude, most of the defenders will be leaving to the next thing. They're already happy to leave this alone.
Oh yeah,
because who is going to be able to defend this? I'm interested to see. We'll see if there's. Rings of Power is actually a masterpiece. It's better than the Jackson trilogy.
Well, did the super fans ever release anything showing that they had actually watched it?
No, not a single one of them. If you go to their YouTube or Instagram or TikToks, none of them have talked about it at all.
I'm not surprised.
Nope. They were hired actors. They were given scripts. They were given scripts to read.
Wow.
Phonies. Effing phonies.
And terrible scripts at that. Yeah, I like for the last, since Rings of Power started,
since I drove up to Waco to watch it in a fucking theater. I can't believe I did that. 3 hours. 3 hours. And did a review every like Thursday night at midnight. I'd record a normal video right on Thursday, and then I'd be up from midnight, and then I'd probably have 5 hours sleep between Thursday and Sunday morning for like 2 weeks. That is messing with my brain. So like today I've been just like a freaking moron. I've been like a zombie all day. I somehow made it to the gym. Don't remember being there at all, but I was there. And I made it to this. Don't know what I did all day. Oh, I watched the Padres win last night. That was good. But it's been a surreal. I feel like I'm in a dream right now. So I can't wait to get some sleep, to be honest with you. Be nice. Laris, looking at feet. She's a little disturbed. And it goes to eating. Yeah, I don't think we need to show him jacking off. I just don't.
Yeah. I agree.
So there's the king. He's getting ready. So this is the getting ready part, right? We're gonna crown the king. In the book, it was done at the dragon pit. Rhaenys wasn't there. Depending on who you hear it from, the dragon pit it was only like 2/3 full, maybe a third full, and there was only sporadic clapping because nobody gives a fuck like who's the king. It would probably be the same for Rhaenyra too, to be honest with you. I thought this is the best shot. I like mood setting shots, right? Where they're just showing everybody thinking like, oh, this is about to get really bad. Yeah. This is just going to be a bad decision. Yeah. But it's like the wheels are in motion and we can't do anything to stop it. So one of the Erics, I just want to say Eric like Monty Python. Eric, the half a bee. Nobody knows that?
No.
Jesus. Really?
Is that from what Monty Python's Flying Circus?
Yeah, it's from one of the albums. It's one of the albums. Yeah. Come on, chat, help me out. Nobody? I'm the oldest motherfucker alive. I'm not a boomer. I'm not a boomer. We just went boomer. Monty Python jokes are boomer? Fuck, never.
No, not like the Holy Grail jokes will last forever. It's just the Monty Python Flying Circus ones are a bit older.
Oh, I'm gonna make you all listen to it. According to Chris, he's like, LOL, nope. Oh God. Thank you. Somebody there is old as me. You're a boomer too. All right. So Edic saves Rhaenys. I want to say Rhaenyra all the time. And again, I was fine with her, like them changing this and having her locked in because Rhaenyra just took off in the morning, right? So she took off in the morning. She's already gone. They set that up last episode. So she's the only one there. And I think this is kind of I think it's a cool way of like somebody saves the princess, but they, of course, as soon as they did that, I'm like, she's going to get on her dragon and she's going to fly away and it's going to be a princess herself.
When we were pointing out, I was like, oh, she is going to want to head to the dragon pit. I was just like, in my head, I was just like, but like, I don't think it should be possible. There should be so many guards. It's going to be like, what kind of plan will she hatch? And they showed us her plan. She would walk up to the dragon.
Yeah.
That was the plan.
I'm almost picturing a Galadriel girl power like defeating of the guards where Rhaenys just like blah, blah, they just jump out of her way.
And like I said, I felt like this wasn't very well constructed because she is high value to the point where you should probably have a couple of guards.
And she could have had this moment later. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but she's got a dragon and she fights. She could have had this moment later. Like that would have been completely badass. But I feel this takes away from it a little bit.
It does.
Presumably, someone just mentioned it in chat as well. Was it armor just next to the dragon? She didn't keep that anywhere else? That felt very like, oh, you didn't care, did you? You just want to get her in armor.
That is plausible, but that is a fucking stretch. What the bigger stretch is no guards. There would be guards around the dragons. I wouldn't say they would be fortified because like you're going to
do that with the
dragons. You're probably going to die. But
you want the entrances to the dragon pit should have guards on them.
The guards are there to protect the dragons, not the people. It is to keep them from being killed.
I mean, there's ways they could have justified it, because if she gets close enough for the dragon to be able to hear her voice, you could just say, "You let me in, or I'll command my dragon to just go nuts." You know, something like. She has authority. She has.
I would have preferred that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it could be also that the dragon keepers are loyal to them. To the riders, like above everyone else.
You know, they're like they just feel they can't deny the rider their dragon, and so just they
speak only Valyrian. Most of them, at least the dragon master, only speaks High Valyrian.
Yeah,
so you would feel like that they were probably loyal to Targaryens.
So saying they could have tried anything, but they didn't.
But they chose not to. Yeah. Just they didn't even try. Which I'm sure that's what you're saying. So she gets separated from Eric, and then Aegon is I forgot, that's the scroll. It's getting a little chaotic. They're getting the oils ready to anoint the king, and he's not interested at all.
Yeah. Father didn't even like me. Do you love me, mother? And she's like, make sure you don't kill Rhaenyra and the kids.
Yeah, again, it's representative of their whole relationship. She's only ever using him, and that's the thing, man. I appreciate her moment with Otto saying like, "I'm your pawn no longer," or at least that I recognize I'm your pawn. But like, that's what she's been doing with her kids this whole time. She's no different.
He's their father.
And to be fair, Otto fucking around with you. You turned out, you could have. They've not turned out great, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, he told her to raise him to be a king, and she clearly did not.
Yeah, because Otto wasn't even here for a lot of it, right?
No,
that's true. Now, it's tough to say, because sometimes kids do go sour against the parents' best intention. But what we have seen is not the best parenting from Alicent. She does not properly make sure or address the fact this is a rapist. She tried, she slapped, shamed him, but still didn't do anything really significant to address that. And we saw him being a drunkard earlier on. That was never really getting addressed. And so
I'm trying to slowly get. Sorry, Shad, finish that, please.
No, I'm just saying it shows that she has failed as a parent from the, what we can learn from the shows presented.
Look at how many fucking people are going in there.
It's no joke.
They rounded up the entire town.
This thing, like the size of this dome, is insane. This is like monolithic in its scale.
Yeah.
Was this in Game of Thrones? Because it's not the same place as
the Dragon Pit. Yeah, it does show up in season 8 as well, right?
In season 8, and it's blown out. Like the top is blown out.
Okay.
Which you keep hesitating on what you
You caught yourself.
That's the thing. I'll just do it for you. It's like this show is a prequel show. It's very aware that Game of Thrones existed, and so it knows that we know the Dragon Pit did exist. It existed at some point, and it was in much better shape. Something happens to the Dragon Pit.
But is the building called the Dragon Pit? Like, or is it?
I think so. Yeah,
Dragon Pit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And without a doubt, at least with Ryan Condell, I can assure you that he had like the fans' best interest in mind. Like if he ran the back half of Game of Thrones season 8, it would go down probably, at least it would have had a decent ending. A decent ending. The guy knows the lore enough and cares enough and is putting in enough detail. Remember, this is the guy who was going to have a Conan series over at Amazon.
Rip that. Yeah. Some people are saying it's too big for physics to work like that with stone. Is that true?
It depends. Look, this is the areas in which fantasy I'm okay to just like
go to Baalbek. Go to Baalbek. Look at the foundation stones at Baalbek. The real life. Yeah,
it's patterned after a Roman structure. Damn it, I can't remember the name, but there's a Roman structure that's made out of Roman concrete. It's the largest kind of domed concrete structure, because you see even the same type of square things on the underside of this one in House of the Dragon as you see on the Roman one. Its scale is at least like 10 times maybe that's going too far, but it's way bigger, this one. And yeah, like probably not, but you know, if Game of Thrones is known for its huge structures and stuff, so I'm that's not one that bothers me too much.
No, it's Valerian built.
Yeah,
and Dragonstone is basically like it's carved from dragon fire, essentially.
the Pantheon, is that what people are saying? The Pantheon.
Well, people in chat saying Pantheon and Parthenon. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, just go. Roman structures were also built on older structures, much older structures like Baalbek. Look into it. There's giant stones that somebody had to lift off the ground. This is before they had iron tools, and the iron tools couldn't even cut these stones. And somehow they would have had to have, like, what was it? 20,000 people on a ramp that's a quarter mile long for it to get up there. Like, it'd be insane. So, you know,
I appreciate that. It's just really cool. I understand that.
I mean, I just looked it up. It is the Pantheon. So if you look up the Pantheon, you'll see this insane. It's huge dome. It's the largest kind of dome structure of that world in the world. It's made out of concrete. This one, again, Game of Thrones, easily 5 times bigger.
Fantasy series too. Like,
I think it's meant to be even larger than it looks on screen.
What makes so much? Everything else is smaller. Like the throne is supposed to be like a couple stories high.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it asked, and I think I mentioned it when we were watching it briefly. But why is this happening here? And that's why I said earlier about the Sept. Obviously, it doesn't exist, the Sept of Baelor, but like I would have thought that makes sense that they would have it in the Sept or even the throne room. But why is it happening here?
There's no Sept of Baelor.
They could have the dragon burst out and kill everyone.
But the Sept is.
I'm trying to be as good faith as possible. Is there actually a narrative reason for this? Like, is it?
Yes, it holds the most people. It holds the most people. So that's why they chose to do it.
In universe, that's why they chose to do it.
In universe, it holds as much as a football stadium.
It also makes sense. I mean, if you're crowning a Targaryen.
Yeah, I was gonna say
you're surrounded by the dragon scent, sound.
Dragons of power and all that, you know.
Yeah.
It makes some sense.
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people.
There are other shots. There are other shots of the shows way like when you see people on the sides and scale and everyone assembled in the middle. Gosh,
I mean,
it's hard to put a number to
it. That you can totally tell that's special effects and whatever, but it still looks good.
It looks better than Rings of Power.
I just think that this might prove to be a bigger stain on this show than we're thinking right now. Because I really am worried they're not going to care about this going forward.
Yeah, that's what my concern is. They might just move past it and not address it. And I was like, because this
it's referred to as like Rhaenys escaped and many died, but it's like, does that really cover it?
No, if like if the Greens, like you said, use this as
propaganda.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's not even I would go as far as say that's just the fucking truth.
Yes.
Queen
we'll see.
In her, instead of working with us, decided to just leave on her own, and when she did, she killed thousands of the people of King's Landing. Yeah, is that who you want back? She has sided with Rhaenyra. You know, like that's
yeah. And I think it would be a good move too. But someone just said it is just peasants, though, and it's like, okay, but when you wipe them all out, you don't even have a city anymore. Like,
and even if somebody says that would be an in-universe excuse. It was like, well, they're just peasants. Okay, then you're just then Rhaenys, your big girl power is fucking elitist bitch.
And also, a couple of these, it wasn't just peasants. You'll see merchants in this crowd as well. And also, even if it was just peasants, they're the foundation of a kingdom. Okay,
exactly.
They are, and so are merchants. You kill merchants.
This would have an enormous ripple effect. It would disrupt all of trade and industry in the city.
This event would be remembered in this city forever as one of the great tragedies of the city, where thousands were just wiped out because someone forgot to use the main door with their dragon. You know, they would never forget.
I think a lot of people give it a credit of like, she didn't know. It's like, she knew who was up there. She knew what she was doing. She knew.
He just didn't give a fuck. Just like Daemon didn't give a fuck when he killed that the castle. And he didn't care that he sent away Rhaenys' kid thinking she thinks he's dead.
This is something Daemon would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they justified it afterwards, like
if Daemon did this, well, Daemon gives it. No, he cares more about the.
He cares about the little people, doesn't he? Yeah, you're right. He might not. And also, even if he was willing to do it, it would be to achieve a better goal than just using the wrong door to leave with a dragon.
So here's Otto. Look at I won. This is my day. Look at this. He's very happy. He's very, very happy.
He's so proud.
The lead up to this was actually, I felt, done really well. It felt epic, like all the swords coming out and making procession for the king. That was awesome. That was really cool.
No, like I said, I liked most of the Alicent being toned down a little bit. I didn't like that much. And the very convenient. Wow, there he's over there. The guy we were just spent half the episode looking for. There he is. Boop a doop a doop boop. It's done. That didn't feel like something from this show. Which is
someone in the chat said it was a false flag.
That's right. It's a false flag, man.
Think about Rhaenyra being told this, that Rhaenys killed 1,000 people. She'd probably be like, no, she didn't. Why would she do that? That's absurd. And then Rhaenys is like, yeah, that's absurd.
Yeah.
They're turning the Ravens gay. We need Westeros Alex Jones. It's a false flag.
Grandma just forgot where the exit was.
Yeah. Hilarious if they just try and play it off like, yeah, it was a mistake. She thought she was bursting out of the ground somewhere else. Didn't realize.
Was that something you said at the beginning of the stream? One of you, there's she pops up and goes, "Oh shit!
I'm sorry."
That's where you get right.
Oh, my bad.
Let me reverse. It's like beep, beep.
It's like in the Suicide Squad when they kill that whole fucking village and and they're like, sorry. That's what she did.
Yeah.
There needs to be there needs to be a deleted scene where she takes the wrong exit. She sees the wrong exit sign or somebody turns around.
Some of the peasants are like, we didn't even hate you. What is fine with you?
Why did you do it? It's dead bodies, dead
Look
children.
at all those people. Look at all those people.
We joke about it, but plenty of people would have brought their kids to this, probably.
Yes.
Look at all these happy little. They're just like, oh, we just came here. We were forced here to see the king.
Packed like sardines.
So you could. Is that even? That's more than thousands. We're reaching 5,000.
I'm telling you, this is the entire town.
That's the soul of King's Landing.
Yeah, that's bigger than Hall H at Comic-Con. Way bigger. Well, that's like a sports arena.
Well, the population of King's Landing would be in the hundreds of thousands. I'm not sure we're there yet, but it's still insane.
There's an entire district that's dead, basically.
Isn't the population's 1 million by the time we hit Game of Thrones? I think, right? Don't they say that? I could have sworn they say that at one point.
Again, still look at that, because there you see the people up on the higher level as well.
Huge for how big were the biggest cities in the Middle Ages, Shad? I thought it was like a couple 100,000, 300,000. Okay,
so it depends which city.
London.
About population. London. Oh no, it depends on the period, but London got pretty big at times. In terms of population.
A lot of people are saying 500,000 for King's Landing.
Okay, that sounds about right. I'll take your word for it. I know it's been answered, and quite frankly, I forgot. Sorry. There's a lot of look at people in the balconies.
Oh God, no!
Look at.
And how did they get out? They could have just easily gotten through the door. So they probably on the balconies got trapped in there. Got rubble through.
Some of those balconies collapsed.
What was with the city watch trying to close the doors? What was that about?
That was confusing.
Oh, to keep the dragon in. To keep the dragon in. I got that.
Get more
the dragon doesn't need a door.
That's not going to stop them.
Well, that's why Otto was like, keep the doors open. Keep them open. And I just got that they were panicking, being dumb.
Which, by the way,
did seem dumb. I agree with that.
Could it be inferred then that Otto right there is either one, desperately trying to coax the dragon to fucking leave by keeping the door open, two, worried about everyone being able to escape, or
yeah.
Is that it? You think that's it?
I thought it was so that everyone could. Well, I thought it was more concerned about themselves, like the royal family and stuff.
The dragon in there with them too. I think
it's like don't close the doors. We're here.
Part of it too was that this place is so huge, and they were told that everyone had to go in. That the people at the door probably didn't know necessarily to let the people out. When the people started coming and trying to get out, they may not have even known what was going on.
Yeah, I might have to watch the stupid thing at the end. Like that's dumb though, because I haven't had to
see the dragon, right?
Yeah, you would see the dragon. I think they were trying to close the door to keep the dragon in. That's the only thing that makes sense. Would it help now that you just saw it blast through the floor? I don't know. Maybe those doors are reinforced. Maybe the ceiling's reinforced, and maybe the floor wasn't. I don't know.
The size of the dragon too proportionally to everything else changes to me in the scene. It doesn't make sense how big it is at first and how small it looks coming out of the door.
Does not make sense. Period. It just doesn't. It was there for Twitter. That's what it was.
Yeah. And that's I can say one thing about it. The dragon looked cool. It was an awesome design.
Oh, it was beautiful, but
and I like the vibe of the scene up until that point.
Yeah, I thought it was going. It was going really well. They ruined it.
And that's a bit of a shame because we talk between us and there's several in the community. There's several people who would agree, but I know that if I go outside of any kind of bubble, I'm going to see the world adore this scene and shower it with absolute reverence. Like, oh man,
it's interesting, right?
I don't want to be doing this like spectacle over storytelling, you know.
I wonder what my review's reception is going to be, because this rightly needs to be criticized. And a lot of people watching my House of Dragon reviews are on board with the positivity that fine, I'm enjoying something and everything. And so I reckon I might even find some pushback into a greater amount of downvotes with my next review on this, just pointing out the problems that there are. And the thing is, I still like the episode. I think the episode's still good overall.
Yeah.
But it will be interesting. And I think people will be defending it.
I don't think book fans will like this at all. I just don't. It feels like, I know the book fans.
Jayne nailed it earlier on. Just this feels rushed. Every scene was squashed, and lots of connective pieces that need to be shown and explained and justified were ignored. And they got to what they wanted. They had a clear goal with this one. Rhaenys is badass. Question mark.
Well, she's bad. They achieved that.
There's a boy, Aemon.
That chin, that chin.
Their expressions when Aegon looks to his sister wife, right? She's just like, whatever, sure, fine. And then Aemon's just like, I think part of that is probably like, doesn't it suck for Aegon that his whole family are kind of like either manipulated him or don't care or don't want him there? It's just like, yeah, I guess, but he's also an asshole, so 50-50.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking like, oh no, he's enjoying it. He's gonna be such an awful kid.
I like when everybody bows and then Aemon just goes,
yeah, he knows.
Really nods his
head.
So there he is. He's got Aegon the Conqueror's crown on. So we got to see that for, I believe, the first time ever. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I thought they were going to do some kind of a gag where his head was just a bit too small and the thing was going to slip down. Because that would be awkward if it did.
That would have been nice, actually. If it didn't quite fit.
If it didn't fit, that would be funny. But that's what the throne is for. And they've shown that they are willing to do that in this series, which is good, which is the throne cutting people.
Yeah.
So he's like not feeling it right away. Then people start cheering.
All right, look at that. Go back there, Guthrie. Look at the people there. Holy crap.
This is what I mean. When you have like a big forceful thing happen at any part of this, you are wiping out whole family lines.
Yeah. That's 5,000 at least. It was probably more.
We're about to find out.
Or about 10,000.
Look at how happy Otto is.
Oh, yeah. All of his carefully laid plans.
I love that bloody sword. It's great design.
Yeah, black is awesome.
What's the name of it? Sorry,
Blackfire. There's Dark Sister, which is the one Daemon has, and Blackfire.
How does so like Ice is just in the Stark family, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And then the Lannisters are annoyed because they don't have any Valyrian steel.
They had one called Bright Roar, and they lost it, so they went back to go look for it. Lost with a Lannister who went out. So it was Bright Roar, right? Right. And like all the major houses had one at one point, pretty much, and they're lost over time. But there's a bunch. I think there's like 100, over 100, and some of the lesser houses have them too. They always have good names. They have
well, what do you think about Widow's Wail?
Not a very good name.
Not a very good name. Joffrey chose that, so
not a very good name. I have Longclaw over there. You can't see it.
Longclaw's a cool name.
Longclaw, it's cool. The bastard sword too. So we're gonna go forward. Oh, did we miss the boom?
Yeah, the dragon just. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna run it. 5, 4, 3, 2. Yeah, she looks so happy.
This is such a like. Well, we did it.
Yay! We did it. Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Yay! Yay! Kick!
Oh.
Oh no!
And that's just the initial explosion.
Oh no!
Oh no!
It's a terrorist attack.
So yeah, it wasn't the entire floor of that area, but then when the dragon starts to swing around and the debris and stuff, very few people.
They show a deliberate like tail swipe that wipes out a whole bunch of people. It's like, oh my god, lift the tail up, you asshole!
All that rock there, that's just gonna fall and rain down on everyone around.
Look at that cloud! Oh,
tell you what, the dust settles pretty quickly though.
It does, yeah, but they have to do that, otherwise we can't see the awesome Queen Slay.
Yep.
Oh, those poor people.
Oh man. And see, this is the thing. I think they might believe like, oh yeah, if it was Daemon, you'd be cheering. And I'd be like, nah, I'd be saying the same stuff. I really feel like if it was a villainous character, like a hardcore villainous, it's like for sure, yeah. But this is not someone I would expect.
I mean,
to do this.
I could see Daemon and even Rhaenys willing to justify something like that if the goal was important enough to them, where they had to get it done. And one, I don't see that as important enough for Rhaenys because they could have tried to justify it with her trying to kill everyone, like the king.
No, Rhaenys. I mean, you could argue that she's going to die, like they're going to kill her.
Yeah,
you could definitely argue that, and then she feels like she needs to get this information out. But a raven could do that.
There's lots of ways that it could be. And you know what I think might have helped that if the theory was that she was like, I'm going to kill several civilians in order to kill them, and then she has to have her look around and almost look distraught, like, oh geez, what have I done?
Yes, yeah.
Or just have her just leave, like right away. No looking at the fucking king or anything, just boom, gone.
Bursting out.
I don't know, because if it was just to leave, use the front door, you stupid woman.
I kind of thought that there would be like, there's rumbling on the outside, and they buy some time to where Otto or somebody can get outside and look, and you see Rhaenys taken off. That would have been enough.
Yeah. Interesting cliffhanger. She got the dragon. She might tell Daemon and Rhaenyra now and stuff, but no, they wanted to have the.
I'd even say as well, by the way, it's a shame that they don't show those reactions that I was just talking about, because I imagine it's specifically because this is getting shared everywhere. This little shot of her looking awesome, you know.
I would have much
something that I was confused about, right? It looked like the dragon. Like, how would a dragon burst through the ground? Like with its head, with its back? Yeah. But I was almost expecting she's on the back of that thing. Either way, she's getting crushed by debris and squashed on the back of the dragon. I thought she would have to be under the dragon, let the dragon burst free, and then climb onto mount it. And then when she was mounted on her, I was like, how did she survive that? That's
not only that, but the dragon, how's it going to get its footing without? It'll have to crash through and then go to anywhere around that hole, right? Like,
what is it standing on? Yeah, like,
it's standing on people. That's what it's standing.
I'm pretty sure it's standing on people. That's true.
Yes.
But yeah, see, look at her. She's like stone faced. She don't give a fuck.
She's
She'll hear all that
yep.
screaming. It doesn't matter.
It would have played so much better for me if they had just we could hear the dragon on the outside, maybe even an explosion. She popped out of some other part of it, and they could hear the dragon roaring, and they could maybe hear thunder roaring because she's that part of her ancestry. But that would have played a little bit better. It would have been more mysterious. It could have been more frightening for them. Like, she's gotten away. She's gotten away with her dragon. What are we going to do now?
What if?
But instead,
what if she burst out of like you just said, some hole, whatever, it lands at the front with the doors open, and then she does that same thing, that move where it looks like she's going to incinerate the entire plate, and then she pulls back because she can't do it because of the civilians.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
that would be what held her back.
Everyone's standing there, just like they're basically waiting to get killed if that was her intent, and so they're not reacting like their lives could be threatened here. They're just like, oh, well, she has a dragon.
Is she going to be a kinslayer? No, of course not. This would end the show.
It would end the show.
Burn them. That's what you would do right here.
This is part of the, like, I guess they really have to play up the whole Kinslaying thing, and at least have Rhaenyra and Daemon ask her why she didn't follow through if she tells them she got that close, because even Rhaenys should be very aware, especially with what she's heard from them, that this is the correct move if you want to save as many lives as possible.
They make it very clear in the book that there's hesitancy in the beginning for kinslaying. Very much so. They say it. They're like, nothing is as cursed as the kinslayer. It's as bad as killing somebody at dinner. it's worse. You're the first person, you have no honor. And yeah. So this
but we're past it at this point. They've killed Laenor.
And they captured her, and they pretty much tell her, like,
it wasn't a green that killed Laenor, right? And we don't know. It still looked like it was Laenor's lover who killed him. You know.
Yeah, she doesn't know for sure, but she believes it. She believes that they had a hand in killing Laenor, and you know how much she would have cared about him. And of course, when she's being led out of King's Landing, rather the King's Castle, she spots the guy who's been hanged for obviously what did he do in total? He said, it's a lie that I went out to try and warn anybody of anything. And then they were like, tell us the truth then. He didn't say anything. He was hanged for that. Not that she would know that, but the point being, of course, that she knows how serious this is getting. And when someone tells you, like, I really wish you'd support us, please make your decision in solitude with locks away from your dragon. Let us know what you decide to do. It's like, right. Yeah. Okay.
Well, not everybody gets hanged too. I believe they like take some hostage.
Yeah, that seems like a kind of a smart move, to be honest with you. Hostage taking. But point being, she knows how serious this has gotten.
Yep.
And the dragon comes really close, screams at them, and she's like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
And steps on bodies on the way out.
Yeah. Stop killing people. You put an asterisk on that. Stop killing thousands of people.
I mean, it's a cool shot.
It is. The dragon,
dragon looks great.
Like you said, there's a time and place for this.
Yeah. And there's plenty of opportunity. Plenty. You're not going to get a shortage of dragons for sure. I think they felt like this episode was slow and they needed a spectacle, and I would totally disagree. I think
that would be really, like, this was like up to the jumping the shark at the end. I found this was one of the most intense and engaging episodes. It was like it was so much serious stuff was happening.
I'll completely agree with that. I don't know if it's going to last on a second watch though, because I know exactly what happens, and I'll just be like, Meanwhile, like, there are some tense scenes from like classic movies or TV shows or whatever that managed to maintain it through the build-up because of how well they sort of paid off. But no, I might still maintain my tension seeing all the civilians. I'll be like, oh geez, I'm entering the building.
It still feels like some like exec, like, we need a dragon at the end of this one. It's too boring. Yeah, it just feels like it, because this is
Gary, I was saying to you that I thought this would be a stepping stone episode, and that we're going to be episode 10 will be the one with a bunch of payoffs, which from the promo, episode 10 is Dragon Central. They are going to be spamming the dragons in the next episode, but they of course couldn't let episode 9 get away with being dragonless. So.
Yep.
Well, the blacks have the most at this point, so
The show generally has a ridiculous murder fetish. All the arbitrary, unpunished, unsanctioned killing of the nobles has been ridiculous from episode 1, but not even trying to kill the Greens, says Armin.
Armacanyon.
Thank you for 99.
I'm not sure. I'm hoping.
Yeah,
I hope that's right.
There's a murder fetish in Game of Thrones. There's like people get draped and murdered. I mean, in the books too. Like it's nuts.
I'm fine with lots of murder. Quote me on that. But I think I agree with the super chatter that this show has had a bit of a pattern with very high up level people get killed very casually, and there's not a lot of time there's not repercussions for it.
Clip that. He's fine with murder.
Mostly fine with murder.
Mostly fine. I agree. And this is a good question, Captain Miko, for $5. Why are the Kingsguard not in front of the royal family? They're just standing around.
Right.
Not all the Kingsguard is around. But they did not do a good job at all telling you that. We know. My biggest thing is that nobody makes any attempt to run away when the dragon is rising out of the floor. And you don't have any Kingsguard being like, right, King, come with me. We're getting you out of here.
Exactly.
Not even Cole. You'd think Kristen Cole would have grabbed Alicent and ran her out of the building. Like, even hide behind the throne. Anything.
Matt L for $10 Australian. Unfortunately, this episode might signal the coming of what we feared from the show would be from the original. I'll say from the onset. Twitter bait, girl boss agenda, variety hour. Episode 9 feels out of step from the logical consistency seen thus far. Yes, absolutely.
I would go as far as
saying that way for a while.
I would go as far as saying this episode was weaker than I would expect from this show. I wouldn't have thought they'd get this weak.
We got some good news though. Tyler Jones for $50 says $50 in honor of my wife Christy's birthday on Tuesday. She totally called it with the dragon, and the moment of Rhaenys smiled at the dragon pit. There you go. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, Tyler. Crazy Tiger Person for $50 says my favorite quote in Game of Thrones, the Hound. If I see anyone die with a clean sword, I'll rape his fucking corpse.
Yeah, I remember that line.
The Hound had the best lines. That is faux show.
And really well cast too. That actor was fantastic as the Hound.
It was, what's his name again?
I don't remember. I just know that he was in Hot Fuzz. He was the like Lurch character or
whatever. Rory, I knew it was Rory McCann. Rory McCann. Great actor. Good stuff. And like the Hound was solid. Just got wasted at the end. Everybody wanted Clegane Bowl.
That, dude, does that not summarize as like when you go too far into spectacle, you start to forget there's threads to take care of.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
It's like
they tried to lead out of stereotypes.
It's like X-Ray Girl was fighting dragon.
Oh yeah, someone just referenced. Do you remember when Aya said he killed Lobby and that's why she wants revenge or whatever? Then he's like, "What the fuck is a lobby?"
Loved the carnage, and I was okay with discount Queen of Thorns getting her moment, but wanted more than a one-sided episode. I think Angel Art Critic for $20. I think they wanted to focus on the Greens, but I don't think you can. I don't think it do it once, fine, but you can't focus on this family only in the show. You just can't.
No. I think this was just the Green Council. The next one will be the Black Council.
Next will be the Black Council. But they're definitely I saw Storm's End. I saw Storm. I saw.
Did you?
I did.
No.
Yep.
It's way too quick.
Yep. I was thinking we would get a certain scene at the end. I don't think we will now, but Ryan and I were talking about like it might be a little rushed. By the way, Ryan was supposed to be here and he can't. I should have said this in the beginning because he's sick because he's a giant.
I got sick.
Yeah,
he ate bad Taco Bell.
And ate bad Taco Bell.
They got his order wrong again.
They got his order wrong.
Maybe they poisoned it this time.
They probably did. Like, look at how he acts to those people. That's how he's going to go out, by the way. No, like he's not feeling well, so he'll be here next week.
Fringy couldn't make it yet. Prior engagements, but I'm hoping we'll get the whole gang together for the last episode, right?
The finale.
Oh, the finale's like it'll be great because I don't have to watch a bunch of other crap, and I'll be just like ready for this. And
I will be doing the She-Hulk breakdown a day before.
That's right. I'm going to try and join you. If I'm awake, I'll try. You start so early, MauLer. It's hard for me.
I know. And every time you remind me of how early it is, I'm like, oh, poor Fringy. He has to do it every week.
Just remember, Shad, it's 4 a.m. for MauLer right now. So thanks, MauLer.
Okay.
4 a.m.
Is it 4?
It's coming up to 6 a.m.
Okay. we'll get okay. We're almost to the end. $4.99. It's not like she knew where she was coming out of the ground. What is her motivation for that? To scare him? What if she had just killed all the greens? It would have been a short series.
Yeah. It would have been a short series. Yeah.
It's for the spectacle. That's the reason. I mean, it's really dumb. She could have just used the front door, but no, they wanted the girl power.
They want don't do this again, show. Just don't do it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, right, when they did it with Cersei, I'm actually going to defend this. It's like there was strong reasoning for it. She's already kind of going mad with power. She's incredibly desperate. She has only one move left. She finds out about the wildfire. She wipes out the Sparrow, his like bigger leaders, and then a lot of people that were loyal to him, as well as she takes out the Tyrells, which gets her in some trouble as well with why am I forgetting her name? Queen Tyrell, old lady, Olenna Tyrell, that's it.
Olenna Tyrell, the Queen of Tyrell.
And the scene itself, if you guys remember, I still it was Ramin Djawadi's music. It's and it's all very slow and set in place, and then like detonation. It's like it's quite a glorious moment. And I remember people celebrating, like, oh, there's a bit of Girl Boss Cersei sort of thing. And it's just like at least there was a strong character reason behind it, and I can understand people celebrating that a hell of a lot more than this. This one, I'm like lost. I'm like, did you see what happened? I don't know.
I hated how many people they killed in that explosion. I was fine with the scene. I wish that like half of the people, maybe.
I didn't want Marjorie to die. I thought it was a waste.
I loved her in that moment, though.
Yep, where she just figured it out and she just went, fuck.
Yeah, dude. Oh, you remind me, because she drops the bullshit. She's like, we need to actually leave. I don't care about this bullshit religion stuff. We actually have to get out. Like, this thing, we're gonna die.
So Skyrim 96 for $50 says, if entertainment wasn't so woke, would you watch a live action Elder Scrolls versus Skyrim show if it was like the live action trailer that was released when Skyrim came out? I would personally, and let's be honest, the trailer was better than the Rings of Power.
Yes, it was.
It was.
And so I think he's talking about Elder Scrolls number 5, Skyrim.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't woke and it was made good, of course. Like, good shows.
Absolutely.
My opinion on literally everything. It's like, would you want a show about a man who eats his own brain? I'd be like, if it's good.
Yeah. I agree with that completely. Yeah, it just like, and girl boss moments are so like tired now. Like, honestly, it's been 6 years. We got it. We're good. It'd be different. A guy boss moment. That would be fucking different at this point. It's just so played out.
Well, Damon did have one on the beach.
Well, I mean, if guy boss just counts as guys doing cool, badass, respectable things, like when David chopped off Vamon's head, I was just like, holy shit, that was awesome. Yeah.
Izzy L 499. Rest in peace, Tony Gwynn. Missed the hell out of that guy, Mr. San Diego. I grew up in San Diego. I'm in Texas, so like I'm a lifelong Padre fan, unfortunately. But yeah, Tony died of cancer a while back. We miss him a lot. he was a town hero. I read that one. I was so mad that she didn't say Dracarys. Sure, it would have ended the show, but I reiterate, fuck the high towers. Other than the last 10 minutes overall episode, I think you meant overall good episode. Also, Gary, is it the book or the show version of Longclaw? It's the show version. That's all they have right now. If they have a book version of Longclaw out there, send it my way. I'd love to see it. I've been looking. There's a version of Dark Sister out there that's okay, but it doesn't look like Valerian Steel. But neither does I can go get it and show it to you. It's all right.
I wasn't the biggest fan of Longclaw's design in Game of Thrones. They're doing much better with the sword designs, armor designs, but all their set dressings and stuff in House of the Dragons. The swords look cool.
I got the scabbard, and it looks fucking awesome in the scabbard. But yeah, like the wolf head could look a little better, but you know, I'll grab it in a sec. It's not far away.
Maybe save it for episode 10 as a celebration.
Maybe I should. I got King Theoden. You saw it on Friday Night Tights, though. I got King Theoden's helmet. It's fucking awesome. I was wearing it all day today, just running around my house.
Shouting, "Dad!"
My tiny piece. Yeah. Sir Harold Westerling mic drop. Totally. I fucking Graham McTavish is a great actor. Like, even
I was just gonna say it lined up with what we've seen before. He's even in episode 2, if you remember when Otto said to Daemon, the king would never sully himself by being here. That Lord Commander's there, and he looks down like he's annoyed and kind of awkward about the fact that a lie is being told. Like, he seems pretty honorable, and he's always been, you pointed out yourselves when we've been going through the episodes, but he's seen Kristen Cole say and do things that are awkward or out of character or out of honor, let's say, and he's looked at him like, what the fuck you doing? So as much as he's been a background character, I think everything he says and does in that scene all lined up with what you could expect, and it was cool. Yeah. It was cool to watch.
Quick, what connection? That's the dichotomy of 200 years prior. We got a very honorable Westerling. What did the Westerlings do in the book anyway? What did the Westerlings do in Game of Thrones? What were they semi-responsible for? Come on, chat. You know the answer to this if you read the books.
Did you say Shad or Chat?
Chat.
Oh. I have no idea.
I was going to say, I don't think
he knows what I'm talking about. Jayne, Westerling. Oh, come on.
Oh.
Robb Stark.
Yeah.
Red Wedding. Thank you very much. You got it. And death. You just said death. Lots of death. Yes. Death. Robb's wife, House Westerling. It's actually Jayne Westerling's mom worked with Tywin to work up. Yep, she is fucking. She's a.
Listen, Tywin solidified the pen is mightier than the sword.
She was such a bitch that Jamie Lannister hated her guts, even though it helps his house. He's like, when he starts talking to her, he's like, I can't stand this woman. So. They wouldn't make a Skyrim show because the lore of Elder Scrolls: The Last Dragonborn is a white guy with blue eyes and blonde hair, and he's too masculine. Probably not. Skyrim.
Well, I mean, they would make it, or just change anything to suit their
girl. Look at the icon for that super chat, by the way, the avatar.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, there we go.
I'd give him a boyfriend. It'd be fun.
Yay.
Okay, so they're getting screamed at. Oh, wait.
And then she kills a couple more people as she leaves.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, yeah, and just so people know, it's like, yeah, the big old like pressure here was she looks back at the doors like, oh shit, I'm running out of time to escape as well. And I'm just like, why is that happening? Why are they closing it? Stop.
The floor, when she turned around, the floor looked empty. Now, I don't know how, because everybody's dead, maybe. I don't know.
They got vaporized.
But like, this scene's cool. Like that, that's all you needed to do. And it would have been total, like, her escaping would have been a girl boss moment, like, on her own. That's all. They totally overdid it for fucking stupid. And like, they took something that could have been really cool and made it kind of cringe. That's just the way I see it.
Yeah, they've made her a villain.
Oh yeah.
Oh god, I don't know that they know that though. I really
Yeah.
They got the reaction they wanted out of most of Twitter already.
I was really like, despite her like sermonizing in the beginning, I was liking her character a lot. I was like, she's going to be kind of a dark horse anyway. And it's really interesting seeing with her because she is kind of an enigma in the story. Like we know she's there, but we don't really hear a ton of her motivation. Where's Corlys? We don't even know anything about Corlys yet.
I was hoping he'd be back by now. I don't even know.
I mean, they didn't have a lot of time to address it. This is the day after the last episode ended, And
Yep.
so...
Oh yeah, but it's still they're the writers. They can
time jump.
Back,
No time jump, and I don't think there's not going to be any. I don't think any big time jumps anymore. I think those are done.
Yeah, Rhaenys will land at Dragonstone, and she'll tell them everything, and that'll be the beginning of the episode, probably.
Yeah. And look, I'm still excited for the next episode. I see Daemon, cut loose perhaps and see the fallout of what happened here.
Yeah, I mean, the majority of the damage here is done to Rhaenys. And I liked it. At this point, I'm going to have a big ol' hairy eyeball on her now. I'll be like, what the hell? Like
a hairy eyeball? What type of description is that?
Isn't that am I using that wrong? I thought that means when you were...
I've never heard that before. A hairy eyeball.
Hairy eyeball.
Eyeballs aren't inherently hairy, and what being hairy does
I know, but let me. I'm sure it's a thing. Yeah, hairy.
You mean
eyeball
a black eye?
Yeah. Hairy eyeball, a look of expressive disapproval, disgust, or scorn.
Completely new to me. All right, boy.
Check that out. I'm out.
Got me.
The boomers.
You are adding culture to this stream. I'm now educated.
Oh, yeah.
The guy from the bottom.
We're calling me out too. English.
I know. It's like you're gonna listen to the guy at the bottom of the world who eats Vegemite or whatever you got.
That's right. You should never take advice on the English language from Australians. We just butcher
or Americans. That's for sure.
The funny thing is, you almost convinced me it wasn't real because I was like, yeah, why is it a hairy eyeball?
I almost gaslighted him into doubting himself. Unintentional gaslighting.
I would just say hairy balls, but
gonna give him the old hairy balls.
I just lose the eye. I'm gonna give him the hairy balls. Oh my goodness.
Is that a Welsh saying? No, it's just English.
Welsh. You can understand it. It's not Welsh, okay? If it was Welsh, it'd be all, it'd sound like a drunk man having a seizure.
True.
When do you think you're in reverse? When do you think you're in reverse, but the dragon is in drive? Did you do the equivalent of like backing out through the garage door without opening it? Is that what you're saying?
Just crushing everyone with each step. Do you think the dragon was like, damn, Rhaenys, what are we doing?
When you aren't sure, Nerdrotic wouldn't turn you into a Borg. I would. Why not? Okay, MauLer, you should probably go to bed. I'm going to read some soups for a minute, and then. But
I can hang on. How long have we got before you?
Like 10, 15 minutes.
I can do that
before I'm going to pass out. I haven't fallen asleep on a stream yet. I came close once.
Really?
I did. The camera wasn't on, thank God.
I just picture you talking slower and slower. And slower.
Well, I was guessing. So like I had a minute not to talk and I did like completely nod off. And then somebody asked me a question. Somehow I answered it. So that's when I knew I could be a YouTuber. It was a long time ago. Okay. Let's go over. We'll start with the donations. By the way, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for joining. Thanks to the Nerdrotics for being here. We just had Nerdrotic just had best 2 months ever on this channel, like not even close. So thank you.
Oh, dude, you've been killing it. Like,
yeah, man.
Genuinely impressed with the views that you've been pulling in. I think that's wonderful, dude.
Before the Rings of Power thing started, I was like, Gary's got a tough job ahead of him. He's gonna have to, but you've nailed it. You've come right through it.
I have a good crew. Thanks, buddy. And like this was like the most pleasant of surprises. Was like I didn't think I wasn't going to put any priority on the House of the Dragon. I was like, thought we would do 2 live streams and hate it and leave. And here we are. It's like the thing I look forward to. And like you guys have responded great. We get great crowds. It's late at night and you're really engaged. And we appreciate you because like we want to like stuff like desperately.
Yeah.
Desperately want to like stuff. So, and this is still very good. Very good. Are we going to recommend it yet? Not yet. Not yet.
If 10 is as, let's say, as good as this episode, I'd reconsider if Az was like, should I watch it? You know what though? It's kind of like Shad was saying earlier. It's like I still think people should consume the Viserys arc.
Yeah,
it's just
very good. Episode 8, and
I mean, if the episode is a half as good as 8,
yeah,
we're good. We're fine.
I really would have been fine with that ending the season.
It could have too.
Could have.
I mean, some people could be like, well, it's not very action packed. Or like, yeah, but it is kind of him dying.
Yeah,
is an explosion in a sense.
Look at the difference. Like we're not at the Targaryen Civil War yet, and we're not going to get to it. Like we're not getting to it in the first season. We might get to the first like shots fired, but like at the way things are going, unless they just fast forward everything, we're not even going to get to it. And that's fine. Enough has happened. Again, contrast to the Rings of Power, which I was wrong. We did get some Rings of Power at the very end, but like, who gives a fuck? We only got 3. And by the way, it was supposed to take how long? It's like 50 years. The process of the rings is like a long amount of time. And
Nori took longer than the Rings of Power being constructed to say goodbye to a Chungus friend.
To hand Meth Dolph an apple. It took long. Oh my god!
I just find it funny that her family had her bags packed and ready to go.
They wanted her out of there. Like that was banishment. They didn't want to see it out in the open. But
we talked about this on EFAB. They were like, what? You're going to go off with the crazy hobo from space into the wilderness? Yeah, okay, go.
You just learned how to fly.
But it was actually, wasn't it their suggestion for her to go? It wasn't even request. Like, you should really go with this crazy.
Go with them. The guy,
the dad, like, he has this little comment where he's like, you best go now because I might not want to let you leave, sort of thing. And it's just like, you just try to get her to leave. Like this.
They throw a party once she's gone. It's like, finally.
Also, that was totally a subversion to me, Gary. I was like, I think when I was watching it with Rags and Fringy, I was like, Sam's gonna go with Frodo. That's what it'll be. She'll go, I'll come with you, and she doesn't. I was like, oh, okay.
I was expecting her to go with him. Yeah,
that's weird.
Maybe the beginning of season 2, she'll just catch up with them. Like, I couldn't leave you behind, Poppy. I love you. But no, wait, the other one, Nori,
whatever.
It's amazing how pointless so much of the things in the show now that we see it in completion. It's like, what was actually achieved with the Harfoots and Gandalf? Nothing impacted the main plot at all with that. You could cut the entire thing and it would be better for it.
We had the epic magic battle. Didn't you love it?
Wait, the place he's going to in the east, the stars are shaped like a pointy hat, and it's called the Hermit hat. That was my favorite part. That's not fucking lore, by the way.
Oh, dude, when he said, it means wise one, or in your words, maybe wizard. Like, shut the fuck up.
My moment for that was when he says, always follow your nose. I was like, shut up! Yeah. No! I don't believe you! Bullcrap! I'm not accepting it. This is not
It didn't even make sense. It's like, what is it? Yeah. He's like, I can smell something sweet. It's like, what does that have to do with your location? Like, what? In Lord of the Rings, fresh air is coming from one of the 3 directions, meaning it's closer to an exit. That makes total sense.
But that's not east. And they clearly said, we're from the east, where the sun comes up. We're going to follow our nose. Okay. Well, you know what? The logic they used in the show, fine, whatever.
Whatever.
I don't care. All I know is, yeah, it'd be great for the channel if it came back in a year. I'm fine with it taking as long as it likes to never come out again. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
Shelve it.
It's bad. It's, you know what? It's just better for the world if this thing doesn't exist. It's better for humanity. Royal.
Sorry to cut you off there, Gary. I'm actually, there's one thing about Rings of Power I'm glad that it exists, because to me, I think this is such a stark, confirmation on everything we've been saying. Okay, this has woken up so many people about what's going on, and I'm happy for that, at least.
The universe tends to unfold as it should, ladies and gentlemen. We had She-Hulk be an abysmal failure. I don't care what anybody says by every metric. Rings of Power by every metric, abysmal failure. G4 just shut down permanently this evening.
Yeah.
It is the very best example of get woke, go broke. All it took was one SJW tirade to bury an entire multi-million-dollar network. One. And it's all happening in the same year, around the same time. It's kind of a synergy. It's maybe the world rebalancing itself. Or trying.
Well, I mean, look, I like the fact that Hollywood mainstream, they haven't noticed it by now. They get everything they deserve. And if they still, like, especially Disney, man, then they're not going to, basically, I don't think Disney will notice it, but it's like, how could you deny how toxic this woke crap is and how destructive it is to good media after Rings of Power? How could it's just
especially
so
when you see a positive response to House of the Dragon, however we felt about, like, this imperfect episode, it's still got a massive positive response. That's what they say they're going for. That's what Amazon said they were going for. But then they immediately come out and attack fans, and this has just become tired at this point. And you're right, more people are aware of it. And that's what's going to end it. Hollywood is where trends go to die. They're going to drive things into the ground until they are fucking dead, and then drive them into the ground some more.
And it's interesting. The things that have come about from Rings of Power, I feel like are going to remain. Because didn't we see the same response to the Mermaid trailer? How they were in the comments replying, "Oh, my favorite part was when Gandalf took out the M16 and blew." And they were doing that for that as well. It's like it's created almost a permanent evolution in the counter culture.
It took us a while to answer because we were answering emotionally, which is fine. It's an emotional response after you've been told multiple times to fuck off by something you helped build that you made worth $1 billion. These fucking corporations didn't make Spider-Man worth $1 billion. Disney didn't make Spider-Man or the Star Wars worth $1 billion. George Lucas did, and the fans did. Stan Lee did, and a lot of other creatives, and the fans did. The fans made these things. These are our spaces. And we're willing to share them with anybody as long as you don't come in and go, "Oh, you need to change everything, racist." I know, like, it's a lot to ask, but
I'm going to be honest, Gary, you sound a little patently evil right now.
I do.
I've never seen a response push that far. They'll say racist, sexist, everything. Never seen them go just face off to that level. It's patently evil if you dislike our show. That was
because it's driving them crazy. Like, they don't know what else to do, so they're going to the extreme in response to fans being rationally upset about the decisions they're making, but they can't take it. So they're
never understood as well, because as you guys are kind of pointing out, I don't even know what it is you're referring to exactly with what Rhaenys can do later in the story that can get them what they want, but there are ways they can get what they want. They don't have to make it so abysmally awful.
Exactly.
But they seem to want to. I don't know.
Oftentimes
I feel like it's made in a lab.
That was my issue with Rings of Power. It's like you have so many really great, strong, capable women in Tolkien's lore they could have used. Well, I guess maybe they couldn't have used, but they could have used for inspiration in how they handle their characters. And they chose not to do it.
So Galadriel is one of the worst written female characters ever conceived. She's worse than Rey. I mean,
she's worse than Rey.
That's a feat. That's amazing.
Oh, and
it's so funny too, because we had Jennifer Walters right by side with it, like at the same time. It's like, wow, you're really competing, huh? Okay.
Yeah. How bad She-Hulk was bad, but if it wasn't for Rings of Power, it would have been worse. Like, She-Hulk was like a novelty compared to how bad Rings of Power was, because it was like, oh, you're like, this is real beloved shit. This is like sacred text to a lot of nerds for years, and it's old. It's fucking old. It's older than Marvel Comics. You know, like it's weird for me to think as Marvel is old, because when I was young, it was like around for 15 years. You know, so it's a hard concept. But like Tolkien to me has always been old. It's always been around since like the 30s. So. All right, we got to read some of these. Let's go. Royal Fool Cleaner says, I knew something was afoot when Rhaenys tipped off from the crowd. Wasn't expecting that though. I wasn't either. I knew she was going to get on her dragon. They took her to the dragon pit. I'm like, she's going to get on her dragon leave. Cool. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be what? She does what?
That was another thing, by the way. I consider it kind of a contrivance that her Kingsguard man leading it, he had no way to easily get out of the city. He just kept getting blocked by all of the major roads. It's like, did you not come up with any other strategy here? You're just going to drive her through the... I was like, they're going to get caught. I mean, how recognizable a Kingsguard, like
yes,
shoving this woman around.
I have a note. I was surprised that he's just wearing his armor. Like, that's just
Yeah.
wearing a beacon saying, oh, I'm someone significant and I might be with someone important. Like,
I'm surprised she didn't know a way out because of all of the tunnels that she would have been familiar with, I would think.
I'm like... Imagine the image of he's pushing around some old lady, and she's in a hood. It's like, what's going on there? And you pull it out, as like the white hair. You're like, what is going on here? Like, what is this? What are you up to? But yeah, and he like loses her the second the crowd start getting toward them. And I was just like, okay, and that's how she'll get to the dragon pit, of course.
Minnie Galen for $5 says, some quick thoughts. Gary, my Mariners came up short. Sorry about that, but congrats to the Padres. Thank you. See if we can go all the way. Lars is no longer Lars Clubfoot. He's Lars Fetish Foot. Okay, that's good. Dragon scene at the end was dumb and was really the only scene in the show purely for spectacle. Yeah, everything else, like, you could make an argument, like, a few contrivances is fine. We have good characters that we like, okay?
Yeah.
But that at the end was like, that was a kick in the balls. I was like, whoa, what the fuck was that?
By the way, you don't try your best, Jayne and Gary, to answer this question as though you have no additional information beyond this episode. Do your best, but Beast Beneath the Boards, could the show be arguing that she was referring to this dragon?
oh,
Yeah.
I think you're right.
I think so.
Yep.
That's not quite what I was expecting, but all right.
I was expecting something else, but I think you are right. Now, there was a good theory. I read that from a commenter, by the way. I keep an eye on by the way, good job, chat. I agree. Yes, I think that's what it came from. I thought it was something else, which I will not say.
Yeah. I
watched a theory video that made a decent argument that Laurie's Clubfoot was a green seer, possibly a green seer.
Really?
I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think that now, because they showed him watching people. I wish they wouldn't have done that, but they showed him watching people. So he's just really observant. People don't think about him, and that's the way the book presents him. Is he's like this cripple that people just forget about, and he's just standing right there watching people do shit, and nobody pays attention. But I thought it would have been fun. You know, I like the thought of an evil green seer. You know, that's what Euron probably is. Euron Greyjoy. He's an evil green seer, probably. And I like that thought. Plus, they would explain why the fucking werewood's like everywhere. We'll see. And it could lead to like them chopping it down, maybe explaining that, and then like wiping it from the records or some shit. I don't know.
Oh.
WG for $100. Oh my God. Hey guys, look on the bright side. Thank God Brie Larson wasn't cast as Queen Alicent. The scene with the clubfoot Laris would have caused vomiting, psychological trauma with thousands of fans. See, now the scene is better. He's right.
You've improved it.
Do not Google Brie Larson's feet, okay? And you're going to do it now, but I told you not to, and you should. Rhaenys genocide was evil, but it doesn't ruin the show for me. It wasn't a girl boss moment like the showrunners say, but it was enough of her being pissed at society in general. And I believe there are, this is her wanting to start war way better than Rings of Power. It still is way better, Alex. And you might have a good argument that like this could get explained next episode. Like it totally could. And if it does, good. I feel like it was done for spectacle. I think it could have been done a little better without so much collateral damage. But I mean, if she's really at a point where fuck it, okay, then we need to see that net. Like the problem is, I know there's something that happens that will directly contradict this in the book unless they change it. Okay. That's all I can say. I don't want to tell you what it is, but there's something that comes up just in the story. It's not a major event. It's in conversation that comes up that would directly contradict this. And MauLer will catch it. And MauLer, you'll know when you catch it. It should happen next week. And he'll go, wait a minute. So we'll see. We'll see if
But it's also, I mean, it's contradicted by what we've seen her discuss concerning her grandchildren up until this point. I mean, she wants to avoid putting them at risk at all costs. This is exact opposite of that.
La 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 la. Don't know what to say. La la la.
I really want to say what it is, but I can't. Like 1 week, you'll find out, and then MauLer will, as soon as he comes across in the episode, he'll go, oh.
Well, it's funny. I'm often blind to flaws when I'm really enjoying something, and vice versa. The same thing can happen when I really hate something. I could actually miss stuff because I'm so focused on something that's annoying me. So you might have to help me out on that one. Who knows?
Okay. You know what's annoying in Rings of Power when Muriel got to the black flags and she's like, what is it? What is it? And Elendil wouldn't fucking tell her. Like, your dad's dead. It's the black flags. They just held on to it for dramatic effect, and we're supposed to like that thing we're hanging on for 2.5 years.
Dude, they did that before when she was like, we're leaving, Captain. And there's other characters in the scene who can see that he's there, and he's like having it was just like he's like, I could see him being like, guys, assholes, hello, I'm blind. Like,
would you tell me what's going on? You selfish cunts.
The scene cuts and they're like, oh, wasn't that effective? Wasn't that? That was cinema.
Oh yeah. Oh god. Yeah, all I have to think about is Rings of Power, and I'm like, episode's not so bad. So all of this could have been ended with a simple Dracarys way to make the Princess Rhaenys look dumb. Yep, Rabbit Nemo, and they were trying to make her look like almost the moral compass, the one who's been fucked over the most, probably had the best point of view, but maybe she doesn't. Like, they need to explain that. Maybe she does. Maybe she is still bitter about the throne. I would guess yes, she is at this point. Then, but they just don't feel like they sold that enough to me. I could be wrong though. Hale, the episode felt rushed. Subplot here, subplot there, subplots everywhere. Too much all at once. That's what she said. Key, Lime, Kayla. And she does it. That's what she said joke. You're awesome. Please, let's consider the tragedy of Asimov's foundation as a harbinger of bad reboots Lord of the Rings. The model, the mistakes are almost the same. Letting interns fill out an outline and turn it in his first draft as the plot. Yeah. Was that the one they just adapted on Apple?
Yeah, it's the recent. I've heard horrible things about the adaptation.
Terrible things about it. Yeah. And I was like, I would have watched. That's something I would have loved to have watched.
Yeah, like a great sci-fi. It's based on a classic, and then just the horrible things said about it. I was like, all right, well, no point trying to watch that one.
Sporking for finale stream, the sporking simp, Mr. Grant Gregory for $5 Australian. Maybe, maybe. Is he still putting my face on his thumbnails?
Yeah.
I owe him. I got to go on his stream. I think I can go on his stream next week, Mr. Grant Gregory, if the time is right. I definitely owe him one for sure. We love Scotty, by the way. I'm a sober brother. I love him. Run! It's Godzilla for $20. Says so. They showed in a previous episodes that the dragons were brought out by ramp. This is true in the arena. How will she get to the ramp down to her dragon to walk down, as well as all the people in the way? Is there a giant hole I missed? Maybe. That That's what he said.
Probably it was like side stairs or something.
That's a bad joke. Bad joke, and I'm happy to tell it. Clubfoot has been getting Twitch streamer Alicent info for a while. Dakota Stanton for $20. Is she streaming her feet? Pour one out for Amaranth. Guess she's having a little problem. I barely know who she is. Like I know less about Twitch than I do about gaming, which is not a lot. Merlin was a Slytherin. Oh, I read that. I went way too far. Hang on. Merlin was Merlin a Slytherin? You think so? No, he was the first wizard. He was all the 4 houses. Come on. Merlin's beard.
I'd be a Slytherin.
Yeah, I know you think you'd be a Slytherin, but you would not. You'd be a Gryffindor, dude. You
reckon?
Yes.
You can join me in Ravenclaw, right? That's the.
I'm a Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw here.
Yeah. Wit beyond measure is man's greatest treasure. Oh yeah, I know my fucking Harry Potter. Damn right. Me and Ryan are gonna probably do a stream from Orlando, a Harry Potter stream, just to destroy our reputations. I thought oh wow. F Franco for 200 ARSs. Martian pesos. Don't have much time to listen to the review today, but for me, this was by far the worst episode of the entire season. Mm-hmm. Such strongly dumb choices were made. I agree. But if we get a good one next week, it's totally forgivable. Like,
yeah.
You know, it feels like
we're gonna get Daemon singing High Valyrian to a dragon. All right,
that's pretty cool. Okay, I kind of like that.
It's gonna be cool.
It's gonna be very cool. Jayne.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's gotta be too soon. Would he need to sing to his own dragon?
Hey, no spoilers.
I'd also go as far as saying I'm pretty sure in the trailer he's not singing to his own dragon. That dragon looked pretty big.
I haven't seen the trailers.
Okay. You haven't seen the trailer?
But from what I've heard so far, too much is happening too soon.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm just going to shut up. I don't want Dad to stab me with one of his swords.
I got him. I got multiple on hand, Gary.
Yes.
It would be a privilege to be stabbed by this one, I think.
One.
This is a nice one.
That's a good one.
Does look good.
All right. Do a couple more and we're going to get out of here. We will go with Nick S for $4.99. It feels like the writers had a stroke during this episode. If there's a merciful God, then hopefully they'll stick the landing. Ooh. I mean, they went right to an episode with no Matt Damon Targaryen and no Viserys, right? So that was an interesting choice. I understand they needed to do the Green Council.
I think it does assist in the atmosphere of like we get to feel how the Greens feel, kind of. It's like this is very stressful. We're going to make our decisions. Anything could happen. We don't even know where Rhaenyra, all the other team are. But I mean,
it shows it wasn't easy for them, right? And they know they don't sit on firm ground.
Yeah,
they got there first. Now they got to hold it.
And we lost Beesbury.
But he went out he
was pretty well, yeah. It's kind of funny because like they set up a few episodes ago that he was like losing his marbles a little bit, right? Like he was not keeping up with conversations and stuff, but he seemed pretty coherent when treason was afoot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, notice the Lannister is taking care of the treasury.
Yeah.
And the throwaway line is really important. The throwaway line where he says, we split the treasury into 4 parts. 4 parts. So they send it to 4. They send it to the high tower. They send a quarter to the high towers. So they have a quarter of the crown's gold. A quarter went to Castle Rock. A quarter stays at the Red Keep, and a quarter goes to Bravos, to the Iron Bank. kind of important.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Well, that's one thing we like about George, right? He tells you where food comes from, famines. He figured like there's diseases, like how much does it cost to make armor? You know, it's like that kind of shit gets figured in to the show. You know, not to a point where it's boring, but it's like it's good. I like it.
I love those details that just make the world feel more real.
Exactly.
Love them.
Well, like when Cersei's doing her walk of shame, there's like little kids selling fried rats. You know, there's like, get your rats here.
Yeah.
There's people selling food and like that gives it depth. It's cool. Hail and toast to you. Love watching you all review The Rings of Power and House of the Dragon. Long live the Fellowship, says Alpha 3 Viking for $9.99. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We love doing it too. This episode seemed to be missing a lot. D. Oh, a lot. Curtis J for $2. There you go. Rhaenys actions in the end should ruin Rhaenyra's relationship with King's Landing. If the writers are any good and if they're as good as we hoped, I'm worried though that her actions will go unpunished. Scene pissed me off, honestly. Sir Marhas for $19.99. Yeah, I think a lot of the like book fans are going to feel that way. I do.
A lot's going to know how to handle it, but
I would hope lots of regular fans feel that way. What she did was huge. This wasn't some small thing, and then we dig into it and go, the implications of this morally, blah, blah. It's like, no, this was enormous. How do you miss this? Like,
no, like it's like super, like WandaVision. What was our biggest problem with WandaVision? I mean, there's a lot of problems with it, but like at the end, when she imprisoned an entire town and children, and they tried to make her sympathetic, and it made no fucking sense. Wonder Woman raped a guy. She raped a guy. And they like didn't even think about it. Like these moral questions do matter for character consistency, and this is like right up there with it. It's like, what the fuck was that? CNN viewership went down below 500,000, and they fired Brian Stelter, says Mark Wilkins for $5. The fact that if it's really that low and it's like sinking millions of dollars, just shut it down.
Right.
Like you can live stream from somebody's house and do the news, and nobody gives a fuck. You don't need a big studio anymore. Those days are over. Blacklist Universe, what's up?
Hey, Mike.
He says we are one backer away from 3,000. We must have hit that by now.
We're on 3,000 exactly. Wow, 3,000 backers.
Hey, you guys made like top 10 Indiegogo comic sales or something like that?
Yes. For Indiegogo comic launches, we're in the top 10 of all time and the most successful one this year, I think, which is amazing. Like really, really cool. And it's just getting me excited to make more. I was going through the world building elements, one of the next projects just last night. I was up until 2 a.m. because I was just going away. And so it's really exciting. And the further we can push this, man, I the new goal, I'm grateful. I'm so happy with what we got. This is incredible. But I really want to see if we could hit 400,000 by the end of the campaign.
I can do it. We can do it. We can do it. We can do it.
That would be so cool. So cool. Because then that might enable me to do the third project, the superhero one, and start working on that as well. And then I'd have the second volume of Shadow the Conqueror, my space opera, and then first superhero one, and just go all out. Get some of the best artists.
You and Eric, I love that Eric's like, I saw Eric's tweet to you, which was
that was awesome. He just says, keep winning. It's like, love you, mate. You're a legend.
Yep. See, rooting for each other. We need a lot more of that. I'll back that 1,000%. Rooting for each other. Like going after each other though. I don't got time for that, man. I just don't.
Same.
Yep. It's a waste of time. It's counterintuitive. It doesn't help anything.
Yep.
Alexi Merchingoff for $19.99 just sends $19.99. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And thanks again, Mike. Hope you're doing well. You probably don't care about the sports ball. He's in San Diego, so I care. I care about the Padres. Queen Alicent's OnlyFans asks, look for danger for $5. Yes. Yeah, it's information though. I mean, like that's that's valuable stuff.
A fair trade.
Fair trade. My alignment isn't lawful. My alignment isn't lawful evil. It's patently evil, says Shark Dentures.
Yeah.
There you go. That was a good one. That was a smart joke. Bradman for $4.99. I have like feet. I just look up at Brie Larson's feet. I don't like feet anymore. I have like feet. I just looked up Brie Larson's feet. I don't like feet anymore. Told you not to. Oh, you like old fungus? To defend the big dumb beast beneath the boards, Alicent locked Rhaenys into her room until she gave her an answer. Rhaenys gave her an answer. Fire and blood, words of my ancestors' family.
What was her answer? I will kill all of your subjects by
eating ash for $10. I mean, like, that's an explanation. If she would have said fire and blood or something right there. I mean, they tried to do it with looks. I just don't think it worked. I understand what they tried to do, and it didn't work.
There were just better ways to do it.
It doesn't kill the show at all. It hurts her character. But she's an important character, but she's not the main character. Like there's three main characters. It's Alicent, Rhaenyra, Daemon. Those are your three main characters. Then it's like the Otto. It's going to be Aemond. Like but your main three. It doesn't affect. So I'm more concerned. Like if it's a progression with Alicent, like she's hanging on to morality, but then she slowly becomes a monster. Then I'm fine with that. I'm cool. I'm cool with the progression. It just felt a little weird, and that might be because I read the book. So we're going to wrap it up there, folks. We're going to get out of here. You guys have stayed long enough, and we're going to have a big, long one next week. It's going to be a big, long one. Yeah. That's what she said. Big, long one. So I'd like to once again thank everyone for joining us in this great panel. I hope, baby boy Ryan, I hope you feel better, buddy. Maybe eat a little less floor pizza and Taco Bell. I don't know. Floor pizza. You're not getting any younger, buddy. I don't know. He can eat all that shit, be fine. I hate him for it, by the way. I hope they nailed the ending. But it has been a pleasure talking to all of you on the panel, all of you in the chat. This has been like my favorite thing to do over the week. So
it's been really fun. It's definitely a highlight for me every week.
So absolutely. It's nice to talk about something you enjoy for a change.
Mm-hmm. Have you guys read Raging Golden Eagles comic yet? And what do you think about it? Have not. I will, though.
Not yet. I'm paying attention far more to the independent creator space now, especially with the Iron Age kind of push and now that I'm a big part of it as well. And so Literature Devil just launched an Indiegogo campaign for a graphic novel. You can check that out. Clownfish TV, Eric July, everyone knows about him. He's done so well. Razor Fist, and I'm just paying attention to some of these new projects that are coming out. And I want to start looking at them, reviewing them, discussing them on Night's Watch, and really try and help support this independent creator space. Let's really push something and make something awesome out of it. I think that'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could turn into something like huge and special. I mean, will it take over the industry overnight? No, but it doesn't need. I think it becomes its own, right?
Yeah,
and it needs to be
everything
something
starts somewhere.
It doesn't need to have to be like New York Times bestseller bullshit. It's going to be you create your own fellowships. I'm not going to use the word community. Your own audience. That's rabid, and it doesn't have to be huge. It can be just this localized thing, and it be more artisanal. And I think it works much better that way.
And the cream is going to rise to the surface. Everyone just needs to make the very best quality thing that they can do. And what we're really seeing, because what I love about the graphic novel kind of industry is that you can tell quality pretty quickly just on the quality of the art. And we are already look at ISOM, right? We're going to make stuff that's better than the mainstream. and we're going to outperform them in pure quality. We can do that. And that's one of my intentions. Like with the graphic novel, Enemies of Self, I made sure that, I spent $50,000 in getting it ready to produce, got it all done. Mike S. Miller is such an amazing artist, get it the best quality we can. And same with these other projects. I'm going to be trying to reach out to some incredibly talented artists and make some of the best quality things that you can get, and just outcompete them, just make better stuff than even the mainstream.
Yeah.
That's how we win.
That's exactly how you win. And don't get involved in the other shit that the mainstream has killed themselves with. Learn from their mistakes. What's Eric's mantra? What's your mantra? Like, it's like, we love our customers. We want you to be our customers. We don't care what your politics are. We really could give a shit.
Yep. So I love Eric's mantra, respect the customer. Mine would be, I guess, make top tier quality, best quality that I could make. And I'll find a better way to condense it into something a bit more snappy. But that's kind of been my philosophy from the get-go with my graphic novel. Like, it cost more, but I hired one of the best cover artists in the world to do it. He's absolutely amazing. Chris McGrath. He does covers for Brandon Sanderson. I got the best audio book narrators for my audiobook. Michael Kramer, Kate Redding, they do the audiobook for Wheel of Time, for Stormlight, for Mistborn. The best ones in the world. Make something that is easily equal quality or better than the mainstream. And we can do it now, and that's phenomenal.
No, like Eric's book looks like a book I would have ordered at the shop from the beginning. It just does. And your book, when it came in, the audio book, it fits right into my. It's not like it's a sympathy purchase for my friend. No, it fits right in with my 150 other audio books I have in my Audible that I rotate like all the time. I have all the badges, dude. All the badges. So I listen to that shit daily. And now I'm going to read Whale of Time because of you, Shad. I'm going to try it again. So we'll
stick to it. Just in Wheel of Time is the perfect example of a truly well done slow burn book where enjoy the details, enjoy the characters, the process, and you get sucked in. It has some great payoffs. It's just phenomenal payoffs.
Awesome.
Talk about the book series, not the friggin' show.
Oh, I was just looking forward to booting it up. I thought that's what you were talking about.
When's it coming out? When the trailer came out, right?
So literally tonight, I'm going to be having a reaction and discussion on that. There's a new teaser out, and just even by the teasers, it looks like they haven't learned a thing from season 1. It's going to be just as bad. If it's not, I'll admit it. I will. All right. But all the signs are there for this to be another woke dumpster fire that they're going to rafe all over again.
It looks like a CW fantasy show, dude. It's really bad. And I bet you their budget got cut from season 1.
Yeah, I could see, it went under the radar for how bad it was, and it did not get viewed very largely at all. And then, of course, it was picked up by certain communities because it had the right representation who would defended it to the death. Anyone who said the slightest negative thing about the Wheel of Time adaptation on Twitter, on Reddit, you would get banned off the groups and everything. The amount of protection and cope to protect that show from the dumpster fire that it was astounding. And in fact, there was only one Reddit group that was honest about the show. It was called the White Cloaks, and it was a lot of fun. They were savage. That entire Reddit group wiped out. They completely deleted off of Reddit. That's the amount of protection that show was getting.
Amazon has a lot of money and resources, and money. More on that later. Thanks again, Skyrim96 for the $20. Thanks again to the Nerdrotics. Thanks again to everyone who left a super chat and donation. There will be a square up for all the House of the Dragon and Rings of Power stuff. And thanks to Jayne Theory, Shannon Brooks, and MauLer. MauLer, please plug what you like, sir.
I got nothing to plug, my good man. If people know where I'm at, I'm streaming almost every day at this point. I'm being on your channel, Az's channel, my channel, EFAB Gaming. I've been trying to get through all the God of Wars because Ragnarok will be coming out next month. I'm very excited for that. I'm hoping it'll be good.
It's a cool looking game, dude. I was watching you a little bit today.
Oh, yeah. 2018 it's confusing because they called it God of War again when there's already one called God of War. But yeah, no, it's people often call it Dad of War. The whole game is just Kratos is a dad and he's getting better at being a dad throughout the game. That's like the whole thing. Good stuff. And yeah, of course, thank you for having me. Thank you for setting this all up. This has been really fun. And we got one more. We'll make it a fun one.
More. We got all the Avengers coming next week. So Ryan will be with us, Fringy will be with us, and then everyone here. Shad, anything you'd like to plug?
I think I've already plugged it enough. People know that, you know, I'm making new media. My graphic novel is available. You can get leather-bound, collector covers. Do be sure to get your copy, guys. And it's just going to help me produce more. And I'm really excited. Already working on stuff. So thanks for everyone's support.
Oh, and thanks for being here. Thanks for being on the Friday night. Dude, we'll have you back. Like,
I can't wait. I so much fun. So much freaking fun.
I might just send you a link next week. So
seriously,
we can hang out with Razor Fist.
I love that.
Mr. Iron Age himself will be on the show. And by the way, watch his videos on the Iron Age. Like, just watch all of his videos, the pulp videos, the metal mythos. The guy's fucking good, man. Yeah, I'm kind of a simp for Razor Fist. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I'm old. I
don't care. You guys should say. I don't care.
You can call me all the shit you want. I don't care. Jayne Theory.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us. Great job as always. Is there anything you would like to plug?
No, thanks for having me. This is always so much fun. Yeah, y'all can find me on YouTube. I post movie, TV reviews, pop culture commentary. You can also find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, all at Jayne Theory. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Look forward to talking to you, young lady, next week. And we'll see you on Sporking on your own channel. And maybe we'll throw a bone to Scott if we really feel sorry for him. Let's see how much he begs this week. I want to make a bet. I'm kidding. Scott, you don't have to do that. So we're going to just leave. So thank you. Ciao, everyone. See you next week for the finale. Bye-bye.
Bye.